Something like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show, weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillars. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media, and you don't have to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you've already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead, hit that like button, because you already know what time it is, and you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've seen other people do it well. But what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button, and everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. Share the content. There are so many people who need to get great content like this, and it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media. Share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks, today we're going to be talking about a very interesting concept that that I see people spread around, and I'm here to help and get people right, as best I can. I can't make them understand everything about life, but I can help where I can. So I'm here to get a lot of folks right, y'all. And there's this really bad concept out there that people think is a real thing. And it's very stupid, but there are a lot of people who think this is a very real thing, and somebody needs to say something about it. Okay. There are people who think this is a very, very real thing. It's not. Okay. With the thing that they're talking about, but I'm going to deal with the very real thing. And, and I'm sure this going to hurt somebody's feelings. But at the end of the day, y'all, the truth is, no man has ever fumbled a good woman. Now, when you say something that absolute, it bothers people a lot of times, and it's hard for people to make sense of that. But in reality, no man has ever fumbled a good woman. That's what we're going to talk about today. But before we go too far into this, I want to make sure that I give credit where credit is due. There are people who've helped me along the way. And you know what, y'all? Unfortunately, I did lose. I lost another channel. I do have some of my information on the people who supported. So if I still have it, I'm going to use it. I don't have everybody's stuff, but I don't have all the everybody who made a financial contribution. I don't have everything that y'all have given, but I'm gonna go with what I got. Okay, so I want to say shout out to Detroit 313. He is the sponsor of today's stream, and I appreciate him big time. Appreciate him big time. It's great to have supporters like him, and yeah, of course I'm gonna share with everything I was able to get before the last channel went down, y'all. All I can tell y'all is I told y'all before, the platform don't like me. I got I've been thrown off of 3 other platforms. Wasn't really 4 other platforms, so it is what it is. But when you do stuff this good and this great and this real, I can understand why the powers that be don't want stuff like this out. But we're gonna get out what we can. We're gonna keep it working, y'all. So shout out to Detroit 313. I appreciate you big time, brother. Appreciate you big time. Hopefully he hears this. I know it's gonna take a while for people to find the channel, y'all. That's just the way things go. When you put up a new channel, it only promotes so much. It's gonna take people a while to find it. So, but they coming. They all come out. And I appreciate everybody for coming back who's already rock with me. It's great to see a lot of y'all already here. So, appreciate y'all big time. All right. And let me get some shout outs to some of the first people to check in this morning, because it's always good to see you got somebody checking in when you're about to get your show started. So the Saute Sheriff is in the house. Mr. Suge to you is, y'all know how it go. That one person who we call the Highlander of the stream. So shout out to Mr. Suge to you. You are the Highlander of today's stream. Appreciate you big time, my brother. Appreciate you big time. Thanks for doing all you do, my brother. Thanks for doing all you do. You know what? I didn't get the wrenches out like I should have yesterday. Unfortunately, things got a little hectic. I'm gonna try to get some wrenches out today though. So, but shout out to Mr. Suge to you, representing for the pit crew. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. All right. Shout out to J Dub is in the building, coming straight after Mr. Suge to you. Pit crew representing as they should. J Dub is the second one here. Glad to see you, brother. And y'all, no joke at all. It just how it came out. The pit master coming right in after J Dub. So shout out to Chef Mike's Roundtable. Y'all, the pit crew on point, y'all. The pit crew on point. making it solid. Like, no, we first. And you know what? I appreciate y'all. And y'all 3 gonna get y'all wrenches first anyway. So I need y'all to have y'all before everybody else. I'm gonna look out for everybody else too, but we definitely need the pit crew to get theirs. Okay, we definitely need the pit crew to get theirs. All right, shout out to the Righteous Teacher. Glad to have you in the building, my brother. Sarah B is here. Hey, Sarah, how you doing? Great to see you. Great to see you. We got Red Pill Sleeper Cell. What's going on, my brother? Great to see you in the house. Gyogamy is here. Good to see you, brother. Micah Watson is checking in. Good to see you, my brother. Good to see you. Termocat 2020 is in the building. Great to see you as well. Mr. Me Too was in the house and then pulled up a seat to the cool table. I'm listening to checking in. What's happening? What's happening? Great to see you. Great to see you. All right. Yeah, I'm talking about this concept because I think this is a very important concept that people need to talk about, because when people say the opposite of this, it's easy to believe. Okay, this is very easy to believe. People say, well, a man can fumble a good woman. And it's impossible. It's basically impossible to fumble a good woman. And I know that's saying a lot of that's making an extremely strong statement to say that you cannot fumble a good woman. But when you start thinking about things from a reality standpoint, when we take it out of dreams and we put it into reality, there's a lot of things that are there. Now, first of all, I'm gonna just say straight up, how do you know a woman is good? Because that's the one thing people got to deal with. How do you know that a woman is good? Now, I'm going to tell you straight up, the easiest measuring stick that you can make on if a woman is good is to first see if she's married. All right. Now, I know that can sting, but the first way to truly know that a woman is good is to simply see if she's married. There's a lot of women who want people to believe they're good women. If you are a good woman, why are you not married? Now, y'all, I'm going to deal with this, of course, from the black perspective. I know in this particular clip, there was, other people who are not black in it. and some people deal with certain things that do go along with what black people deal with, but black people in America, FBA folks, we have a whole different type of uh of of reality that goes on in America. So some things we're gonna share, but we're not gonna really be the same as other people. And I know a lot of people want us to be the exact same and think that things that work with white folks gonna work with us, or things that work with Hispanics gonna work with us. Now there's certain issues that we have that makes a huge separation. So there are concepts that what works for them ain't gonna work for us. Just is what it is. Okay. All right. Now let's keep it real. How do you know a woman is good? Okay. The first sign that she's good is she's married. Again, there's a lot of women who believe they're good women. Okay. There's a lot of losers who say they are great women. If you don't know what a loser is, a loser is a woman who she's made it to 30 years old and she has never been married. She is a loser. All right. Now, how do we know she's a loser? Because she's had 12 years on the market as a single woman that she did not need her parents to sign off for her. She had 12 years and nobody took her on as a wife. And of course, women will always argue, well, somebody proposed. Well, if you turn down the proposal, that means by the woman's estimation, the guy was a loser. Because why would a woman turn down a proposal from a winner? Okay. Now it doesn't make a difference if the guy's actually what the guy actually is. That makes no difference. The issue is the woman's judgment. The woman has judged that the guy is an actual loser. So only losers propose to her. Because if she thought he was a winner, she would have married him. It is what it is. Okay. And let's keep it real, y'all. What woman didn't take from a man, even if she really didn't like him like that, if she thought he was good enough to take from? Women do some treacherous stuff sometimes. So you telling me she saw this guy that would be a great package, but she knew she ain't no good, so she gonna leave him alone? Now, men, there are some men who will do that, but you don't really see that amongst women. So a lot of women just believe they're good and they're not. And I know they ain't good because nobody want them like that. Okay? Let's keep it real. Nobody wants them like that. No winners want them. Okay? Because winners aren't looking to marry losers. That's for sure. Winners aren't looking to marry losers. And truth be told, like I said, if the guy is truly a winner and she can't even figure out that she's a winner, that's a tough spot to be in. That's a tough spot to be in. Shout out to Red Pill Sleeper Cell. He says, do you have Cash App? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. $ the Roger Report. Okay. $ the Roger Report. All right. Is the Cash App if someone wants to use that. And matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and do this right now since you brought the Cash App up. Okay. I do want to say thank you. Okay. I got a couple people who have sent me Cash Apps. Shout out to Jay Moore. He hit me yesterday, y'all. He hit me yesterday. I didn't see it till after the show. But Jay Moore hit me yesterday on the Cash App. Appreciate you big time, my brother. Appreciate you big time for that. And I got to say special shout out to Universal UC. He hit me when the channel went down. Okay. He seen I was putting another channel back up. So this was on Monday. He hit me with the Cash App. And I got to say, appreciate you big time, brother. He said, hashtag for the hustle. And I appreciate that, brother. I definitely appreciate that. He's seen the channel go down. If y'all are new here, this is like my 5th channel I'm broadcasting from. So, things happen from time to time. Hopefully this will be the last time I got to rebuild the channel, but I can't control what people do. But shout out to Universal UC. He hit me on Monday. You know what I'm saying? When the channel, where the channel went down over the weekend, but I tried to let everybody know I'd be coming back on Wednesday. Try to put a couple things together to get the channel back going again. And yeah, we relaunched on Wednesday. So today being Thursday, this is the second show on this newest channel. So I appreciate you, Universal UC. Appreciate you big time for what you did, brother. You know, that's real support right there. That's real support right there. And I'm gonna say shout out to Red Pill Sleeper Cell because he asking, do I got a cash app? So that's real support as well. You know, so shout out to him. Shout out to him. And matter of fact, as I'm talking, look like it just came through. So shout out to Red Pill Sleeper Cell. Thank you very much, my brother. I definitely appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. You know, it feels good that people want to support you like that. It does feel good that people want to support you like that. And y'all, I'm not gonna slow down on the greatness of the content just because we ran into a quote unquote snafu. That ain't gonna change nothing. Okay, that ain't gonna change nothing. You know, I always encourage y'all to check out. I always encourage y'all to check out the old stuff because you never know with these platforms how things are gonna go. Plus, if you didn't catch it live and you never go back and see some of the old stuff, you don't know where stuff came from. And you know, a lot of greatness in the streams. I put the greatness in the streams, y'all. I don't care if one person watching or no people watch. If y'all would have ever heard my very, very, very first time stream, I still was streaming like 1 million people was listening. Okay, real talk. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you my best foot all the time. Okay, the best foot I can put forward, that's what you're gonna get with me. So it is what it is. Now, back to the subject at hand. You know, this concept about men being able to fumble a good woman. Now we have to really start spreading the word on this, y'all, because it sounds believable. Let's keep it real. This sounds like a very believable thing that a man can somehow fumble a good woman. Shout out to Yoki. He say, long live the Chicago Phoenix. Always reborn. Hey, I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. And you know what? This the way I see it, y'all. You know, if it happens again, hopefully it won't, but if it happens again, the only problem people gonna really run into is that my channel's gonna be bigger and better the next time. That's what the issue gonna really be. It's gonna be bigger and better the next time. Because I'm not gonna slow down on the greatness of the content just because the quote unquote channel got to start over. That ain't what I'm on. Okay, and I'm gonna revisit some things that I was gonna revisit anyway because I want to give some reminders out there or bring stuff to people who hadn't heard yet. So you know, there will be some things I will revisit here and there. So I might even use some of the same titles I've used before. But we're going to get back into it, y'all. We're going to get back into a real talk, okay? Um, and shout out to Mr. Sugar G one more time. He says, Roger, a lot of important issues have been fleshed out in this channel. By them taking it, you know, tops can pretend tons have never been thoroughly addressed. It's like burning a library. Well, the thing is, you know, a friend of mine once told me back in the day, you know, and you know, you could it wasn't necessarily about content because I wasn't doing this. You know, I don't even know if YouTube existed back then. But he said they can't take your brain, man. As long as you can think it up, you can replace it. Okay. As long as you can think it up, you can replace it. And you know what? I still got the thoughts. So we're gonna get back to it. Yes, it was. It was like that, but that's why I encourage people to, you know, just understand the points. Understand the points. So you because they can't take that from the people. That's real talk. They cannot take the points from the people. All right. Now, so I do believe, y'all, we got to address this issue of a man fumbling a good woman. Because I'm saying that when you think about the concept, there's no way that can actually happen. It's a very believable thing that sounds real. And I can definitely understand why men would think something like this. And let's keep it real. A lot of men were raised by their mamas. And that's probably something their mamas was telling them too. Now, I did put a link in the description because somebody put a bunch of clips together to hear a bunch of people. Now, it was a few men and women mixed in, yo, to say this dumb stuff. Now, I do get it. Some of the guys may actually be saying this. It's possible. Some guys may be actually saying this because they're trying to, you know, they just trying to sell content to women at the end of the day. They're trying to make money off views from women. So, you know, they're gonna say stuff like this. And if you talk down on black men, especially, you know, the powers that be like that type of talk. So stuff is really pushed out there. Now you have people who just simply believe in it, you know, because I'm saying the first group, they might have just been talking just to get paid off of it. It's possible, you know, it's possible that some of those men said what they said because they wanted to get paid off of it. That is possible. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say they all complete dummies. You know what I'm saying? I'm not it's possible that some of them said what they said because they just want to make some money. And that's it. That's all there is to it. There's a lot of people who don't come for good reasons, and they're going to bring up stuff because they don't care about how people going to think about it or respond to it. So it is possible that some of them actually was on some, let me just make some money. Now, shout out to Chef Mike's Roundtable. He said, these dudes sound like SPBs, side piece babies. Now, I am going to say some of those guys, I do believe they believe it. Okay? They believe it. That's just real talk. I think they actually believe it. And because they actually believe it, they made the statements that they made. That came from the heart from some of those people. And I know some of y'all be like, what? Can't no guy really think like it? No. It's guys that been hearing nonsense since the day they was born. That's reality, y'all. It's folks that been hearing nonsense from the day they were born. And I'm going to say shout out to No Placeholder. He just hit me on the Cash App side. Thank you very much, my brother. Appreciate you big time. Appreciate you big time. Okay. Yeah, that's just a real thing, y'all. It's some sad piece babies out there. And they believe that nonsense that came out of their mouth. Okay. Now, I'm also going to say this, y'all, because I am telling the truth that no man has ever fumbled a good woman. See, when you make such a absolute statement like that, you know, a lot of people can question it. And I'm not saying it doesn't make sense to question something that's that strong. And the thing is, does it hold up, y'all? Does this actually hold up? When you make a statement that's strong, does it hold up? Well, see, I like to make statements that can hold up. All right. I like to make statements that can hold up. And you even do that video now, you saw a couple of chicks sprinkled in there. They believe the hype too. But I understand why a woman wants to believe this nonsense because it helps them with an argument that they should be treated better or something like that. But now let's think about this, y'all. We're talking about fumbling a good woman. And I'm saying no man has ever fumbled a good woman. Because if you have a good woman, number one, you don't fumble her. What's a fumble, y'all? Let's think about this. What's a fumble? Okay. The first thing that will probably come to mind for a lot of people is football. Okay. What's a fumble in football? You actually get a hold of something. You have possession of the ball. Okay. You got possession of the ball. And for some reason, more than likely another person hitting you, or they may actually hit the ball out your hand. But somehow they take it where you have a possession of the ball. Something happens and now you no longer have possession of the ball. You let something go. You didn't mean to let it go, but you let it go. All right. That's a fumble. For women who might be listening who don't get football, you know, a fumble is something that you have. You're usually probably going to think about something that you have in your hand. And if you trip, you may fumble with something. Maybe you're holding a plate. Okay. You trip. You fumble. You drop the plate. It's an accident. You didn't mean to do it, but you dropped the plate. Plate hit the ground. Plate breaks. Plate is done. Okay. Ain't no using that plate again. It's over with. All right. You didn't mean to, but you fumbled. Cool. Things like that can happen in life. Now, why am I saying no man has ever fumbled a good woman? Because when a man can actually see that he has a good woman, it is natural for a man to want to secure that woman. How do we secure women in society? We marry them. Just is what it is. Now I know some people may say that well, there's issues with marriage and the laws and things like that. Now I've always told y'all, marriage is not the problem. It's only the people that's in the marriage. Okay, marriage has never been the actual problem. It's just been the people who are in the marriage. But to secure a woman, you marry her. It's that simple at the end of the day. You know, everybody knows she belongs to you if you're married to her. That nobody's confused about that. Okay, every woman knows that she belongs to the man she's married to. They brag about belonging to the man that they're married to. It's not a mystery. Every man knows that woman is yours. It is what it is. Okay, you found the first. Salute to you for finding her first. That's all you can do. But we all know that woman belongs to you if you're married. That's why people who mess with married people can get into some pretty hectic situations, because everybody knows once somebody's married, that woman belongs to that man. So you touch another man's woman, God be with you. Nobody's going to really have sympathy for you when you touch somebody else's woman. That's how it goes. We all get it. We got people who make different arguments and trying to change what marriage is supposed to be and change how marriage is viewed. There'll be some people offended saying that, offended at me saying that the woman belongs to that man. They'll get offended at that. Don't make no difference. They still understand it. Okay. So how can a man fumble a good woman? That means you got to have a woman who you married. And somehow she's a good woman and you're so you so bad of a man that but somehow you married this good woman and it just don't work out. So therefore the man fumbled. Let's think about this, y'all, realistically. And I've said this plenty of times, and of course I'm gonna say it again. Good men and women do get together and have great relationships. That does happen. They do get married and things work out. That does happen. Bad men and women get together. They have relationships. Sometimes it's going to work out. A lot of times, and I'm sure most of the time, it won't work out. That's regular. Okay, bad man, bad woman. It's possible that it'll work out. Two bad people can actually work out together. It's possible. They probably won't work out because both of them bad people at the end of the day, but it's possible that two bad people can get on the same accord in some kind of way, and they just do their bad toward everybody else instead of each other. So it's possible for two bad people to work out. It does happen from time to time. Or you have a good person with bad person. Good person with bad person means separation. Good women do not want bad men. Now, that is a thought that a lot of people don't know how to handle. Okay? Good women don't want bad men. Okay? Same way you got bad men who don't want good women. Okay? Well, no, excuse me, I can't say that. I'm sorry. Bad men do want good women. All right? They do want good women. I'm not going to say that. That was a mistake. Okay? Bad men do want good women. Any man going to take a good woman. It is what it is, because guys just ain't on stupid like that. Even if you're a bad man, you recognize you got a good woman, you just keep it anyway. Now, let's keep it real. The bad man knows he ain't going to keep her for a long time. He knows that, but why throw it away? You know what I'm saying? Why throw it away? All right? It's like finding $100 bill. I ain't going to keep it for a long time, but I'm going to pick it up. It's still $100. I'm gonna spend it on something. It's still $100. I'm gonna pick it up. I'm gonna do something with it. Okay. So the thing is, every man will take a good woman. Let's keep it real. Every man will take a good woman. Good women will not take bad men. Now, this is the thing. As a woman, you don't know everything you need to know about a man right off bat. I'll give a woman some form of credit there. Okay. And women like to, play stupid games a lot of the times anyway. But I'm going to say from a realistic standpoint, which I'm never going to give a woman more than 6 months. And I think that's way too long. But if a woman is with a man, because, women going to lie. And they're going to make this claim that this guy was presenting himself to be this guy was presenting himself to be that. He told me this and he told me that. And what they do is they make a women are dumb argument. That's what women really come with. They say women are stupid. Now, they don't use the words women are stupid, but they're going to say women are stupid. Women are so stupid that they cannot tell that they are with a bad man. It's a lot of good women out there that gave men a chance, but the women are so stupid they can't figure out they with a bad man. That's what they argue all the time. They just don't say it in those words. They'll say, well, the guy did this and the guy had that and he showed me this and, that belonged to his friend. They're going to come up with all types of cockamamie stuff to say to get me as a man to examine the stuff she's saying and somehow come away with the idea that somehow she got fooled. Now I understand fooling somebody for a day or two. Okay, I understand that. Okay. I've literally had a woman argue with me when she was presenting her argument, on the past episode. She presented her argument on the past episode that she was dealing with a drunk, but didn't know she was dealing with a drunk. Well, I was with this guy, but it turned out he was a drunk. Turned out he was a drunk. How you didn't know he was a drunk? Like, how long does it take a person to figure out that somebody they're interested in is a drunk? How long does it take to figure that out? I mean, that's not a 6-month thing to figure out somebody's a drunk. That's something you figure out right away. How long can somebody even possibly hide that they are drunk? But see, women say all this random stuff that don't make no sense when you actually think about it. But they present that as a reason we should let women slide on the choices that they make. Because they're really arguing that women are stupid. They just don't think men are going to catch the fact that they're arguing women are stupid. Now, shout out to Chef Mike's Roundtable. He said, I question how long these dudes have been married, where their children are, and what have they built. Well, I'm not going to say anybody we seen in that clip is married. I don't know any of those guys to be married. I mean, I don't know the guys like that in general. It's just a random clip to me. But when I hear men like that, I doubt they married anyway. Because let's keep it real. They don't even sound like married men. Now, it's possible. It's possible. I ain't going to say it's just impossible. But they don't sound like married men. They don't. Okay? They sound like the regular, everyday, I was out there in the streets. I was a bad boy. And I fumbled some good women because I was a bad boy. It's like they try to give this image that they're better because I did some things that I wasn't supposed to do and now I'm owning up to it. Yeah, come on now. Okay. And really the truth is they still trying to sell a image to women because they understand women like men with a bad boy image. So they try to sell themselves as bad boys. I'm saying not at all of them, but I'm saying that's what some of them guys was on. All right. So you have to come up with stupid stuff like men fumbled a good woman. How do you fumble a good woman, y'all? Because this is the thing. If I'm not a good person, okay, I'm this bad man. I'm walking around. Yes, I'm with this woman. I secured this woman to a certain degree. I ain't married her, but she quote unquote my woman. This is my quote unquote girlfriend for now. Okay, I ain't married her though. All right, so I had this girlfriend that I'm with from time to time. But I'm in these streets, right? I'm in these streets. So I'm not talking to my girlfriend the way she want me to talk to her because I'm busy talking to other women. I'm not having sex with my girlfriend the way she wants me to have sex with her because I'm busy having sex with other women. I'm not spending money on my girlfriend the way she wants me to spend money on her because I'm spending money on other women. Okay? I'm not communicating with my woman the way she wants me to because I'm communicating with other women. Okay, now you got this bad man, but supposedly she's with this. This bad man is with this quote unquote good woman. So now you want me to believe the good woman can't tell that the quote unquote bad man has other priorities that don't include her? Is that what we supposed to believe? Okay. Is that what we supposed to believe? The quote unquote good women or the good woman in that scenario, she is so stupid that she cannot ascertain that the man that she is dealing with is prioritizing other women in front of her. She can't figure that out. Now, I understand you may not know that day one. Okay. I get that you may not even get it week one. Because I know people like to look past stuff. People like to look past stuff. But I have said plenty of times that if a woman is with a man longer than 6 months that she doesn't want to follow, that's her fault. Point blank, period. And unfortunately, a lot of men will not take on that attitude because we care more about what women say and more about what women feel than facts on the ground. Now, I know that's a tough pill for the men. If you swallowing that pill, that's a tough one to swallow. Okay, we care more about what a woman feels like and what a woman says than the actual facts on the ground. If a woman has been with you longer than 6 months and she doesn't follow you, the relationship coming to an end is her fault. It's not a man's fault. Because she knows what she needs to know at that point. If she's a cheater, or excuse me, if the man is a cheater, okay, in 6 months you'll know that. Now the only question is, does she accept him being a cheater or not? Now I always tell men, don't be a cheater. Just tell women the truth. But a lot of men been socialized to be afraid of women, so they're not gonna tell women the truth. But let's keep it real. She knows what's going down. Women know they men cheat. They're not complete idiots. And there are guys who want to believe that women are complete idiots because they can feel a little bit more comfortable about cheating in the first place, which you should never feel comfortable with cheating. What you should do is just tell women how it is, and that way it's not cheating. You just tell her, look, I'm gonna mess with other people. And you can't mess with other people. If you don't agree to that deal, then get from around here. Point blank, period. If you don't agree to that deal, then get from around here. It's not like women ain't going to agree to it. They're going to agree because that's how women are. They like, quote unquote, the bad man. The only reason it turns into an issue is because women are always trying to avoid responsibility and they're trying to protect their image. I've said time and time again, women care about their image more than anything else. So the fact that they're getting cheated on is not the issue. The issue is if other people know that they got cheated on. That's when it turns into a something. They don't want their friends or family to find out that they got cheated on because they're going to take that as embarrassing. Now there are a few women who just get past that and they just be open with it and say, "Yeah, I'm with him, but it's 3 of us. I'm with him, but there's 4 of us. I'm with him, but there's 5 of us." And they have their own personal reasons for doing that. I know the men like to take it as an ego stroke, but they got their personal reasons for doing that. You know, matter of fact, right now they say Neo got like 3 of them. You know, and they all know about each other. They all good with the situation. Now, you could take that in a few different things. Now, maybe they just like the fact that Neo can sing, because I mean, let's keep it real. Neo can sing. He's a great and a very accomplished singer. He's a great and accomplished songwriter as well. Okay. And Neo rich. Okay. The most obvious reason that they know about each other is because he's rich. And they're willing to share him because he's rich. Now, a lot of people, men would take that as an ego aspect, but the women are there for the money. Now, that's not a shot against Neo. I don't have no problem with Neo. I'm not saying Neo don't know what he's doing. I'm not taking no shot at Neo at all. But I do believe that Neo was smart enough to understand that one of the main reasons that them women are there is because he's a rich man. Okay? He's a rich man. He know what time. Now, he can stroke his own ego and say it's about the bedroom action. He can stroke his own ego and say it's about how tall he is. He can stroke his own ego and say a whole lot of stuff. But the reality is he's a rich man, and more than likely they're there because he's rich. And that's all there is to it at the end of the day. Now, all four of them can truly accept that as reality, and they all rock with it. It's going to work out for them. Now, I can't say it's going to work out for them because you're dealing with three women, and a lot of women will do unstable. They'll make unstable moves. They like to keep things unstable. I say that they make questionable moves. There's questionable actions that go on. A woman can start getting really jealous at another woman, and then it could turn into a battle to be who's the number one. A lot of mess can't happen in that situation. Okay, a lot of mess can happen. But Neo's a rich man. If that's how Neo wants to spend his money, that's on him at the end of the day. Hey, I wish him well. Hopefully it'll work out for him if that's what he want to do. Hopefully hopefully it's worth it to him. That's all I'm saying. It's his money. Hopefully it's worth it to him. All right. But that's just what it comes down to at the end of the day. Now, if Neo loses one of those women, or even loses all of those women, can we honestly say Neo fumbled a good woman? Because now let's think of this from a reality aspect. The women are willing to openly share Neo, but we know Neo's a rich man. So the reasonable conclusion is they're with Neo because he's a rich man. I ain't mad at that. But let's say something happens in their situation. Now, Neo loses one to all of these women. Now, let's say the argument is how Neo treated any of them. Let's just say it is about how Neo treated the women. How did Neo lose a good woman when the women were there in the first place because of the money? Yeah. See, that's a real question that you got to actually put some thought into. If Neo lost all three women based on how he's treating the women, that's the argument. Neo didn't treat us well. So all three of them at some point pack up and leave. He's lost all three women. Now, why are the three women there? They're there because Neo has money. That's the reasonable conclusion. Now, I'm just using Neo as an example. It could possibly be something else. We don't know, But the reasonable conclusion is they're all there because of money. And they are open with the fact that all three of them belong to Neo. Okay? If Neo loses three women who were with him because of money, then how did Neo lose three good women? Y'all see how that gets real difficult? You see, it starts to make it impossible. He's with three women openly, but they're with him because he's Neo. It's money, it's status, it's fame. Money, the primary thing. Money is, of course, the primary thing. So if Neo loses three good women, and the primary reason they were with him was because of money, how did Neo lose three good women? Now, let's keep it real. Good women are with you for richer or poorer. It's not because you got a bag, as they say. It ain't because you got a bag. Good women don't wait till you get a bag to be with you. Okay? Good women like you for you. That's why a lot of people who actually in relationships that last a long time, that turns into marriages that go on for decades at a time. A lot of that is young people. Why? Because a girl liked a boy, or even as a very young adults, a young adult woman liked some young adult man. It wasn't about status. It wasn't about the money. It was, I have picked this particular person to have a true commitment with. You know, people, we say all kinds of dumb stuff, on a regular basis nowadays, and rarely say the smart stuff. Because people are still trying to figure out how marriage works. Okay? Marriage works because somebody commits to the other person, and that other person commits to them. That's how marriage works. I understand people can throw a lot of other stuff in there, but it don't work unless you have commitment. The two people involved got to be committed to each other. That's how marriage works. Now, there's things that can assist, but until you have two people that are truly committed to each other, the marriage don't work. Because if they're not committed to each other, anything can change the dynamic of that marriage at any given point in time. But if there are two people committed to each other, they're going to be together no matter what. So it is what it is. So you don't have to worry about richer or poor. Okay? You don't have to worry about richer or poor. It don't make no difference. They're not with each other because they rich or poor. They with each other because they've committed to each other. Now, shout out to White Skin and Man Cave. He said, those days are over, Roger. Well, I'm going to say this, White Skin and Man Cave. Those days aren't actually over. It doesn't happen for most black women because most black women are not committed to any man. Okay? Now, black men, we still can have this. The issue is that older folks like myself, we bought into some thing about needing to be with a black woman in particular, and it didn't work out. So no, younger black men can have this again. If we start teaching men the right things, all this can come right back. It may not be with black women, but it can come right back. Now, I do think if black men start doing the right things with the right women, that black women will respond in kind. So I don't think it's necessarily over. It just depends on how things go. But the reality is somebody got to tell the truth at some point. And you got to start crushing some of these things that people buy into out in the world. This clip is to show what some folks are buying into heavy. Okay? There's a lot of people who believe that a good woman can be fumbled by a man. How? How could you even ascertain that a good woman is with a man who ain't a good man? How do you even come up with that? Again, y'all, I totally understand. I totally understand. If you think it's something at the very, very beginning. Well, he just met her last week. I get that. Okay, she can be caught up in something from just last week. But when you start having an actual relationship, y'all become an intimate couple with each other. Y'all really filling each other out, seeing who each other are. People can put up fronts. But how long can the front really go? Okay? How long can the front really go? Now, shout out, y'all. We right back at it, y'all. We have some of the most amazing people that visit the chat. Shout out to the people who visit the chat. You may not catch them here all the time, but the celebrities dip in here and there, y'all. The real Neo. Shout out to you, brother. That's all I'm gonna say. Shout out to you, brother. The real Neo. That's what it say, y'all. The real Neo. He says these women ain't loyal, okay? And you know what? I ain't gonna disagree with him. I ain't gonna disagree with them. They loyal to themselves, okay? So they can't be loyal to you. They loyal to themselves. And even the real Neo knows it, y'all. Even the real Neo knows it. Boy, you never know who's gonna come through the Roger Report Live. You never know. Okay. But realistically, y'all, we got to think about the concept of these different things. We got to think about the concept of these different things. Oh Lord. All right. Hiram Rebels in the chat. He said, drop the link, please. Did I forget to put the link in? Man, I do apologize if I forgot to put the link in. Let me see if I can get that done for you, brother. Let me see if I can get that done for you. Okay, my apologies. But shout out to the real Neo, though, y'all. Shout out to the real Neo. You never know who's going to visit the Roger Report Live, y'all. You never know. You just got to be on point and look for it, y'all. You got to just be on point and look for it. You never know who's coming through here, y'all. You never know who's coming through. Okay. All right. So this now, I'm not gonna say there's a man out there who won't lie to a woman. Of course, you'll have a man who gonna give a woman some story. And let's keep it real. The reason a lot of the men who do lie to women, I honestly have to accept that those men who actually do lie to women, they're doing it because women want the lie. They like the lie. They buy into the lie. They want to talk to the liars. Okay. A lot of black women are not comfortable with men that tell the truth. Because when you tell the truth, you got to deal with certain stuff. And they don't want their friends and family to know that they're dealing with the certain things that they have to deal with when the guy tells the truth. See, it's one thing to say Neo is blowing your back out, but Neo rich and he famous. He has all that status and he's a great singer, So it's one thing to say that. But if you say Tyrone from down the street is juggling you with 3-4 other women, it don't sound as good. Because Tyrone ain't did nothing. Okay. Or if Tyrone's a regular working everyday brother, then it don't sound the same. And they don't like that. They don't like that. And that's just what it comes down to at the end of the day. Now, Tyrone could just be a clown dude that ain't doing nothing with his life the way he should be. He could just be a clown dude. Tyrone may not be a clown dude, though. Tyrone might be a brother who has himself together. He may have a college degree. He may already be working somewhere or whatever the case is. He does this 40 hours a week plus, depending upon what his situation is. He could work in corporate America or he could be a mechanic. But see, when you say the mechanic down the street is blowing my back out, okay? I mean, he's a good man to me, though. But he do got 3 other women. And then what's going to happen? Well, her girlfriend's going to say, well, why is you dealing with that one dude? He messing with multiple women. Why you messing with him? Well, that one dude looks out for me. But girl, he got 3 other chicks. What's wrong with you? The jealousy and envy is going to kick in. Okay? And they're going to do what they can to get you to mess that thing up. Okay? They're going to do what they can to get you to mess that thing up. Shout out to you, Hiram Rebels. I actually just dropped the link. I just dropped the link down there. Okay. I had to go through some trouble to do it, but I don't mind doing it. But I just dropped the link. So the link should be good. Wait a minute. All right. Chef Mike Roundtable says, at the Roger Report Live, the link is good from the desktop/laptop, but it's not working for a mobile device. Okay, that's what's going on. All right, that's what's going on. Okay, that makes some level of sense with what I'm seeing. I'll say that. Okay, that makes some level of sense with what I'm seeing. So, I got it though. I typed it out for him. I just typed it out for him. And actually, we got him coming up to the stage right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and give him the mic on this because, y'all, again, I do believe, of course, a man can lie to a woman. But let's keep it real. How long does it take for her to figure out she being lied to if she actually likes the guy? Okay. Women say all these stupid stories about, well, this guy told me this guy told me that. And it's just a we're women, we're stupid argument. Cause I ain't no woman fooled me for no year and a half, you know. So how you get fooled for a year and a half? It just don't make sense at the end of the day. But H Rebels, you have the flow, my brother. You have the flow.
Yes, hey, shout out to you, Roger, as the host. Yeah, just a real quick technical issue. I actually thought it was my device. I tried to come up on my mobile or one of the iPads yesterday, and I had the same issue with my phone. So it is kind of a link issue. That's all it is. So it doesn't activate from either a phone or maybe the iPad, because I thought it was me, but apparently I don't know. That's just a little minor technical issue. But hey, at any rate, yeah, this topic about fumbling a good woman. Look, so I'm laughing because those guys that were sitting there doing all that talking and babble. Um, First of all, those guys don't even come off as married or in good relationships anyway. And then the other thing too is they sound like they're the reformed bad boy trying to give advice to everybody else. That's how they come off. Like, oh, I had a good woman and she was with me and she did all the right things and I just had to be this bad boy and I didn't pay attention, and now I've come to this realization that I lost a good woman and I'll never get another one like that. And anybody I came after her or anybody I dealt with after that, they just were never as good. That's really all it is, and that's how they come off. um, so it's not really about fumbling a good woman, because a good woman is going to end up with a good man, and that's essentially the real deal, and that's essentially the long and short of it. That's the basic truth. Good women link up with good men. They get married. They build families. They raise kids together, and they go throughout their life doing good things for each other. That's how it works. It's where people try to do this thing where they try to do a lot of, I call it splaining, right? Whether it's from mansplaining, womansplaining, black splaining, white splaining, whatever it is, they do a lot of explaining, and it's just a bunch of word salad, and it's a way to try to get a point across without actually telling the bottom line truth about what they really did wrong, instead of accepting responsibility and accountability for their bad decisions. And that's what they're really trying to do. And then they try to present it in a way that's to other people as somehow they've got this, they've reached this point of clarity and enlightenment, when really they just screwed up. And instead of just saying that outright, what they need to do is just they just try to present it in another format. But anyway, that's a pretty decent start right there, and I'll go ahead and let you respond.
Well, what I'm gonna say, and I didn't quite hear the beginning of the response. I had to fix my audio. I had it turned down while I couldn't hear nobody. But I'm gonna say this. Let's be realistic about it. Ain't no man ever did this. Men do not sit around talking about I lost a good woman because of X, Y, Z. You know what I'm saying? I really tried to be with this one great woman, but I lost. Men don't do this. If men know they trash, they just gonna get what they can out the woman till she figure out something, and that's it. That's why you don't hear men talking about, yeah, I lost this great woman that I should have did this, that. No, the whole plan was to extract from them. They do the same thing women do.
Yeah.
Because they act like women in a lot of ways. So they get with a woman who has something, and their goal is to extract what they can from that woman. So therefore, they did the job they came in there to do. So ain't no sitting around crying, talking about I lost a good woman. The whole thing is I extracted what I could before she was smart enough to figure it out. So ain't nobody sad. Nobody's sad. I came to get and I got. I'm not sad that I got. I'm not sad that I got stuff out of her when that was my literal goal.
Well, so here's the problem with that, and I would agree with you. Here's the problem and the upshot of all of that, right? Is that these quote unquote good women, they link up with these bad men, right? Like they could actually be a good woman to somebody, and there's a good man that's actually will link up with them and accept them and do right by them and actually treat them the way they're looking to be treated, and the way they should be treated and the way they deserve to be treated based on them quote unquote being a good woman. The problem is that they're not really good women. They're selling themselves as good women, but they're getting with terrible men. They're getting with toxic men. They're getting with, men who are, basically users and abusers. And then they say, "Oh, I was a good woman to him." Yeah, but to the wrong guy. You picked the wrong dude. And again, the truth of it is that they know they picked the wrong guy, but they're trying to convert this dude. They're trying to take the bad boy and turn him into a good guy, and that's not how it works. They don't ever change.
Well, I'm gonna say they didn't pick the wrong guy. Now, why am I going to say that? Because I agree with the sentiment of what you're saying, but I think it's
Go ahead,
too
Roger. You
strong.
there?
Yeah, you can't hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Now go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna say they didn't pick the wrong guy. I do agree with the sentiment of what you're saying, but I think saying they picked the wrong guy is giving them way too much credit. I think they did pick the right guy. I think she trash. She knows she trash. So she pick a guy that's trash and try to make the trash guy better because she know a good man don't want her. See, and a lot of us, we do not consider what the women are doing, and we don't look at things from a male perspective. Sometimes, a lot of times, we look at things from a female perspective. And I'm saying that's what we do as men in general, especially black men. We give women way too much credit. My thing is, let's just be logical about the situation. She trash. She knows she
Okay.
trash. So therefore, she's gonna seek out a trash guy. Now, if she wants something better or she wants the trash guy to do more, she'll try to get the trash guy to become better than her. Okay. And every I mean it's really a blue moon, but every blue moon there will be a guy who is a trash guy. He will get what they want and he'll decide he wants something better out of life. And what normally happens and this is a very small percentage, but what normally happens in that very small percentage, the guy's gonna start doing what he does. He's gonna outgrow her and he's gonna leave her where she at. Because she never wanted to elevate. She just wanted to keep a guy in a certain position because she's trash herself. But he said, no, I want more out of life, which means I want to make my whole life in general better. So therefore he outgrows her and she get left behind and she mad about it. So the thing is, she was trash in the beginning. She's trying to present herself like she's not trash, and then blame a guy that that she ain't getting what she want out of life. If you were a good woman, you would be married. It's that simple at the end of the day.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
kind of an
So
open and shut case to me. Good women get married. Now, it's some women who ain't even good that got married, but good women get married. Okay, they're not being left out there like that.
yeah. Okay. So I would agree with that. And this is the beauty of the Roger Report. And for you folks that are listening and paying attention in the chat, that's actually a good way to reframe what it is I was talking about, because you understood the sentiment. But yeah, I would agree with you. That's not the best way to look at it. It's basically you got to look at it from her perspective and act it and see that she's making a conscious decision to do things with a man that she knows it's just no damn good. So that's what's coming out of that. So yeah, that's an actually better way to look at it. So thanks, Roger, for kind of reframing that and putting it in proper perspective, because that's the long and short of it. Because when I was listening to the women actually explain it, they were trying to explain it in a way as if they were that woman. They were the one that got away, and they were the ones that were doing all the right things. But again, they just intentionally chose the wrong guy, and you got to put that on them. Now, I would say this, and this is I'll go ahead and pass it on back to you. Is that here's what I do notice when it comes to men versus the women. The women will try to do the woman's planning thing. They'll try to talk around it and try to present themselves in a way that's actually not truthful. But men generally, and more often than not, men will just say, "Look, she was a good woman, and I screwed up." That's what I noticed with the men.
Well, I'm gonna say men will say something like that at maybe a one-time thing. There is no man truly out here saying I had a good woman and screwed up. That's not something men are even saying. I'm not saying if you don't look hard enough that you may find one guy somewhere who said it, but that's not even being said. Men are not actually talking about I screwed up. Men, when you hear why men have been in a relationship, and let's keep it real, the women usually ones that's gonna leave. They're gonna tell you a whole lot of stuff, but one of the rarest things you ever gonna hear is that no, I just screwed up. Ain't no man really saying that, and he definitely ain't saying that about no good woman. There is no woman out there that was a great woman, and the man that you was with didn't care enough to make it good for you.
Okay,
It's that simple at the end of the day. That doesn't
Roger.
really exist.
Okay, you got me again. Oh, go ahead. Okay, again, you're properly reframing the discussion. You got a knack for this, by the way. You should go into practice or something. But yeah, you're properly reframing it. So what I would say is that what men generally do is they go, "Look, I chose a bad woman. It's my fault. and that's generally what I hear from the men. Like they come clean, but when the relationship goes bad, they generally say, "Look, it was my fault. She was a bad woman. I knew it, and it was just she was wrong for me, and I chose her anyway, and I had to deal with all the issues
I
and problems that
mean,
came with it."
we got that little saying, but that, well, I ain't gonna say the word, but that A though. When people say that, we know what we doing. We know we picking trash women. We not hiding the fact that we pick trash. But she got a body on her, so I'm finna mess with her for a little while. It ain't no glue really sad that he lost her like that. She had a body, so I mess with her. It is what it is, and I enjoyed it until until it was over with. But you don't have no guy sitting around talking about, it's a terrible thing because this great woman left me, and guys don't do that.
No, I would agree with you. Yeah. So yeah, again, you properly reframing the discussion. So yeah, good on you for that.
Well, my thing is, to me, this is a huge lie that's out there. And the reason I'm addressing this particular lie about men fumbling good women is because it sounds so good and it sounds so much like it could be the truth, but it's absolutely not the truth. Because a lot of men and women, especially in today's time, they don't understand men and women don't do the same things. Yeah, we're all humans, but men have very different goals than women, and we have very different concepts than women. We have very different thought processes than women. So we should understand what separates us. We aren't women. This is a story about what women do, and they're changing it to men. Women sit around and cry about the fact they lost a good guy, because a good man will give a bad woman a chance because we may like the way she looks. So therefore, we know what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? But if she can come up to par, I'll keep her. And usually they just don't come up to par, so we get rid of them. And a woman will cry around and talk about how she lost a good man, and she'll be telling the truth. But a guy who's not a good guy, he's only with the woman to extract in the first place. You don't cry that you lost the woman you was extracting from. The guy may cry that he lost the woman a little too early. The guy may have wanted something bigger out the deal. The guy may cry about the fact that we were supposed to go on this boat cruise in 2 weeks, but she caught me beforehand. I've heard guys say that, but I've never heard a guy actually cry about the woman being gone. The guy cries about the stuff he didn't get that he was supposed to receive. That's all I've ever heard. Yeah, we were supposed to go on this boat cruise, you know what I'm saying? But I blew it. She caught me with somebody, and in 2 weeks, we was going to Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? In 2 weeks, we was going to Hawaii, but she caught me with such and such. I've heard plenty of that. You know what I'm saying? But I've never heard a guy actually sit and be mad the woman herself is gone. He's mad that he didn't get access to the stuff that he was going to get, but he ain't never been mad that she actually gone if it wasn't about the stuff. That's all I'm saying. No man that I've ever actually talked to was mad that the woman was gone without talking about the stuff that he was supposed to get. Boy, she was finna give me a watch on my birthday, and she caught me with Keisha. You know what I'm saying? But let me turn the floor over to she good when you're homeless and winner. She good when you're homeless and it's the winter. How you doing this, brother?
She's good when you homeless in the winter. So because good, gentlemen, is subjective, right? It's a sliding scale, right? So, and what I know about Chicago winters, if you homeless and it's January, y'all might want to think twice. And then she kicked you out. I'm sorry, Roger. I'm gonna be like, man. So, but other than that, yeah, for the most part, I would agree. I mean, even God says it. Like finding a good woman is like finding rubies. And when's the last time y'all found the ruby? I ain't never found a ruby in my 47 years of life.
Not one yet.
Not one yet. So even before they want to talk about losing a good woman, how many niggas actually had a good woman? Few and far between. Now, like I said, good is subjective, right? If she's nagging me, cussing me out in the summertime, she ain't shit. But if she nagging me and cussing me out in the Philadelphia winter, she's a good woman. I'm passing back to that.
Y'all have a heck of a way to explain some things sometimes. What name? I was about to give it to you, but Black Crew look like he's about to come up. And you know what?
No problem. Elders
Yeah,
first.
okay. Yeah, the elder got to get it first. But you right after him though. We gonna get you right after him. All right, Black Crew, how you doing, my brother?
Hey, Roger, welcome back. I hope all is well. I glad to see you were able to get back on. Hope the other gentlemen on the panel are doing well, and the folks in the public chat are good also. Well, I could only get to through about a third of that video that you posted, or the link to the video you posted, video to the link you posted. I mean, it's just there's only so much pandering I can observe of men, to women. I mean, obviously, and social media is this environment where it's very lucrative for men to pander to women, particularly to pander to Black women. The guy, the white guy in the very first segment in the rip, I was watching it. I'm like, how's this guy breathing as tight as that shirt is? I couldn't help but laugh over that guy. But on the broader point of whether or not you can lose a good woman, I think in most cases, look, if you're on your grind, you're on your thing. A quote good women or good women will come and go. Regardless of whether you made some mistakes or you've had some peaks and valleys in your life. To the extent that you are on your thing or on your mission, your life objectives, yeah, maybe this woman may have been good for a particular time in your life, but like it's like the Chicago CTA. There's always another bus or L train coming. So no, I don't subscribe to this notion of, boy, if you lose a good woman or so-called great woman, your life is irrevocably altered. Those are usually men, I would say, who have lost their own sense, their own way and purpose in life, and so they sort of fixate on what they presume they've lost rather than focus on what they have to claim of the world. So no, I would agree with you, Roger, that no really good, purposeful man has really lost a great one.
All right. Appreciate that. Black, you got a little bit of an echo, Black.
You got.
Namer, it's on you, brother. It's on you.
Thank you. By the way, is it just me or is it everybody a little? I'm hearing Borgen from certain people here, or am I Borgen as well?
I haven't heard anyone.
But okay. I don't know. I'm hearing it on my end. Maybe it's me. But anyway, Roger, welcome back, brother. You like the Hydra? They cut one head off, two come back. You know what I'm saying?
The Roger Report don't die. Just multiply.
You don't die. You multiply. You don't die. You multiply. Excuse me for using that voice. But it's good to hear from you and listen to all this stuff. I couldn't listen to that link you put out because my bull jive meter went up and I was like, So this is gonna be good. Oh, by the way, shout out to Compassionate Callus for the background image, because it can't get any more ratchet than that picture right there. Or I might have spoken too soon. The floor is yours, brother.
All right, well, I'm gonna say that y'all, we gotta take things in a serious way. And as we talk to them, we gotta have them understand some serious things. Cause y'all, and I even had to apologize for that link, y'all. I knew it was gonna be it's a little lengthy for the message but they was putting out there. But the link that was put together by a woman. So the woman wants to push this narrative. That's why she went through the trouble to do what she did. That was from a woman. Of course, a woman wants women to look good no matter what. And this whole thing about like men crying around because they lost some good women, man, how come I ain't never seen it? You know, when things are real, you're supposed to see evidence of it. Okay, even in your everyday life, you should see some evidence. Now, I could understand certain scenarios you would have to be living amongst other people, but like me as a person who live in a big metropolitan area, when you say something is happening at a normal basis, I know I should be able to see it. Nobody told me that there was a baby mama issue when I figured out that it was a baby mama issue. Y'all know how I figured out it was a baby mama issue? Because I kept running across baby mamas. I told y'all that when I was out the gate, you know what I'm saying, as a young adult, 18 years old, messing with chicks and things like that. I messed with more than a few baby mamas because they was all over the place. Nobody had to convince me we got a baby mama issue going on. I'm like, yeah, all the women I was messing with, a good amount of them was baby mamas because it's normal. So it didn't take me to be convinced or anything like that. I just seen it happening all over the place. You know, so if there's this issue that men are losing good women and they feeling bad about these great women that they lost, then I'm gonna run into it at some point. You know, I live in a big metropolitan area. I'm gonna run into it. How come I can't run into these men who lost these great women? How come I don't know any of them? Ain't never met them.
You know, hmm
You know,
well,
ain't
think about it
seen
this
them.
way, Roger. Mhm. Oh,
Well,
sorry. Go
let me
ahead.
say
Finish.
this too. I ain't never met them. Ain't never seen them. I ain't even been told. I haven't even been told a story of a story of a story of a guy who knew a guy who knew a guy, and the guy sit around and complain that he lost his great woman. I ain't even seen that. If it's real,
hmm
big metropolitan area, it's gonna pop up, and it ain't popped up yet. It ain't happened. Now, I have heard guys tell me about how they was with this woman that they was extracting from, and they got caught before some big thing was supposed to happen. And they were salty that they got caught before they got the next big thing. A guy has told me, yeah, she was talking about getting me a watch, you know, nice expensive watch, but I got caught beforehand. You know, I've heard stuff like that, but I've never heard some guy crying that he lost some good woman. I ain't never seen it. And I just think I'm too old to have never seen this before. And it's supposed to be a any kind of real prevalent thing. But I'm done. Go ahead.
But that's the thing right there. You said right there. The key word was narrative. And this is something I say every time I'm on a stream. I said, especially regardless, no matter what the topic is, I said, you think people are going to let the truth get in the way of a convincing narrative? People want to believe what they want to believe instead of accepting the realities of situations. So somebody out here putting this information, like, you know, this is like talking about losing a good woman and stuff. Like, I remember coming up, there was always one R&B singer who always put out a song like they lost a girl or whatnot. I'm listening to that song like, what the hell is he talking about? And I've never heard about somebody losing a good woman, because I always ask the question, is there such a thing as a good woman? To say a woman is a good woman, you got to ask her, what is that? What are you talking about? What are we talking about when we say this is a good woman, that's a good woman? In what sense? She might be good in one way, but she could be horrible in another way. You know? And to say that just takes away that woman's humanity. We got to understand, everybody's got their faults. Everybody's got their good sides and their bad sides. But, you know, like you said, like when your neck of the woods, you know, you've never seen a good woman. In my neck of the woods, I've met some decent human beings. I met some women who were pretty decent, but I wasn't like, you know, messing around with them like that. I just met them.
I didn't say I'd never seen a good woman. I said that the
Oh,
easy way to know if a woman is good is she's married. It's plenty of, if you can start looking amongst married women, it's easy to find a good woman. You know what I'm saying?
wait a minute.
I know
You sure you're
I
not
know.
getting your narratives mixed up right there?
No,
You said a good woman.
no.
No, no.
If I know a lot of good women who happen
Mm-hmm.
to be married, good women are not left out on the market. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. Yo, the narrative people are trying to push is that you can be a good woman, but somehow you're still on the market and available. What man is leaving good women out there like that? The good women are married women. Okay, if she's on the market and she's good, she gonna get married young. Because men don't leave good women out there. Because everybody wants a good woman. When you're talking about the men who are interested in women, what man don't want a good one? You could be a bad man. A bad man still seeks out a good woman. You know, if he can get her, he gonna take her. You know, it just is what it is. We're not women. Women do go out their way to seek a quote unquote bad man because they know they trash themselves and they don't want to deal with no good man because there's too much pressure on them. Men don't think that way. If a man come across a good woman, even if he's a bad guy, he's still gonna take her for the most part. Every once in a while, you'll get a guy who'll be like, "Nah, you just too innocent. I'm gonna run you through the mud in the way you just ain't ready for. You just too innocent, so I'm gonna let you be." But most bad men still gonna take a good woman if she happens to be available. It's women that seek out bad men because they know they're gonna be on some nonsense. But men don't work that way. Not for the most part. You know, we'll leave a woman alone because she's too innocent. I will say that. There's men who look at a woman and say, "No, she's just way too innocent. I ain't gonna do it like that." You know, but what man finna just let a good woman just be there and not do nothing with her? Nah, he gonna take and get what he can out of her. But the thing is, if she there for any real period of time, she wasn't a good woman in the first place. Because good women don't like bad men. They don't work together. You know,
they avoid bad men they avoid bad men at the utmost cost because they understand the dangers of being with such men.
I think this is Ashley Larry here. I think what we have to really kind of demystify to the public is we have to de-Disneyfy brothers, because the whole
Please,
sugar and
exactly.
spice and everything nice, is really seeped into American society and American psychosis. And so when we sit here talking about women and how they giving up good men, well, I mean, at the end of the day, man, like the Bible says, like, good women are hard and far and few between. And then, like what Roger said, good women are married. They already cuffed up, right? They cuffed up with kids and doing what they need to do for the family. So when these women are sitting here talking about you going to be sad for giving up for fumbling a woman, all you probably fumbled was a STD, because that's all she had for you. Pastor Michael, that.
well, my thing that it's a very real thing that we don't want to pay attention to because we as men we buy into these narratives because we want to believe. You know, so
Yeah,
I think Disneyfication is probably a fitting word, you know, but we want to believe these chicks are better than what they are. Because
yeah.
if you just look at the history, it don't sound good. Okay. Woman gets with the man, she extract what she can. If he just so much as loses a job, she out the door. That
Well,
don't
Roger,
sound like a good woman to me.
Well,
No,
let's
what that is
hold on one
what that
second.
is all right. Oh yeah, hang on. Get some lotion while you're at it.
Let's
Go
look
ahead.
at it. Let's look at it this way, right? The first person to commit paternity fraud was a woman, not a man, right? The first person who will put you on child support and get you arrested was a woman, not a man. A friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, said something that I will never forget as long as I live. A man can break your heart, but a woman can destroy your life.
Oh yeah. With that being said, a woman will falsely accuse a man of stalking her, harassment, or violating her. A man can't. Or if a man does try to complain about that, everybody's just going to mock him. Furthermore, I just need to question. So I need to inquire to Roger. Does it necessarily, when you say a woman is a good woman if she's a true sign of a woman's a good woman if she's married?
No, I
Is that what
said
you said?
good women will be married. Because it's some
Will
bad
be married.
women that was able to get married. I mean, it's a couple of women that had
Hmm.
no business getting married, and even they was able to pull it off. But
Yeah.
a
Well.
good woman not being married
Hmm.
is asinine. You know what I'm saying? Who Who meets good women and just don't marry them? Think about it from a realistic perspective. You in a place where
Mhm.
there's an actual good woman who's single and available, and it does happen because nobody starts off married. We're all born as babies. Nobody starts married. But you got this good woman who then made it to her 18th birthday. She's unmarried now. How long do
Mhm.
we really believe she's gonna be on the market and nobody's gonna marry this great woman who just happened to be amongst men? But all the men gonna leave her out there? Because that's the only way it happens. Every single man
Well,
she comes across is gonna have to be like,
mhm.
well, no, I don't want that good woman.
Well,
How's that gonna ever
hypothetically
happen?
speaking, hypothetically speaking, hypothetically speaking. Oh, I got an echo on my end. No, was that on somebody's end?
No, that was
Okay, it's
Black.
gone.
Black was about to say something. So
Okay.
go ahead and say what you say. Then we let
Oh,
him.
okay.
Oh, he dropped out. I guess he finna
Oh,
try
he's
to
gone.
fix it.
Yeah, he's gonna be fixing that because, like last time I checked, um, the term you have for a married woman is honest woman. So you kind of got me confused there a while ago. But anyway, my thing is like in rare cases you do have good women who had no desire to get married or no desire to have children. First of all,
Nah,
you know what I'm saying? In
that
rare
never.
cases, in rare cases, in
Nah, I
rare
wouldn't say
cases,
that.
very extremely rare.
I
Huh?
would say absolutely that never happens. Why would a good woman not want to get married and have children?
Did it ever cross your mind that there are some women in this world who cannot have children? They're good women, but cannot have children, or maybe they don't have no desire to have children.
No. There's women who can have a medical condition they can't have children, but a desire to not have children. No good
They
woman
don't have
thinks
that
that.
maternal instinct. Oh,
No,
you'd be
no,
surprised. You'd be
no,
surprised.
I wouldn't.
It's rare,
I'm
but
no, I'm saying that if you take
Am I echoing?
every person, no, you're not Black hole. I'm saying if you take out of all the billions of people on Earth, there's zero
Mhm.
of those. That's what I'm saying. There's zero of those. No woman who is good is gonna have an issue about having children and getting married. There's women who do have issues with getting married and having children, but when you start asking them why, it's a lot of messed up stuff going on in their heads. So I'm saying no, it's an absolute zero. Of all the billions of people on Earth, there is no good woman who has an issue getting married and having children.
Well,
None.
no, Roger. Let's kind of explore this just for a second. Even if that's true, what Neymar is arguing is essentially the exception versus the rule. So that would be
Yeah,
the other way to look at it.
No, I mean I get that, but my thing
which
is
is
there
why I
is no
said there's
exception because
rare exceptions.
well, I'm saying when you talk to women
Mhm.
who say they don't want to get married and don't want to have children, those are not good women. When you start actually finding out why they came to those conclusions, them women ain't good. Them women is trash.
Yeah,
Kev,
it's
thank you
funny
for
as
seeing
you
my
guys
points.
were talking about that. I'm inclined to agree with Roger. I don't know if I've 60 some years. I don't know if I've known any good women that did not marry and have children.
Yeah.
Because what typically happens when a woman does not want to have children, she usually possesses one quality that makes it almost impossible for her to be a good woman, and that is an inordinate amount of selfishness. When you forswear having children, you're saying you're putting yourself, your own convenience, first and foremost and above everything else. It's going to be difficult with that mentality. It's going to be difficult for you to be a good person because if you don't want a child, if you don't want to do that most essential thing that your body itself is built to do, a woman's body is built to conceive, carry, deliver. Her breasts are designed to nurse her. I mean, everything about a woman, the texture of her skin, and her cervix, everything about a woman is designed for children. Everything, even her temperament, is designed for children. Her emotional complex is designed for children. So for a woman to forswear children or having children without, of course, there being a medical issue, physiological issue, or impediment, yeah, I'm hard pressed. I know there are some circumstances in which she might be a good woman, but I'm inclined to agree with Roger that that woman is probably not a good woman. Probably not a good person.
I ain't never met one who just didn't have the desire. See, my thing is, now you threw the medical thing out there as secondary. No, I'm not. A medical thing is a medical thing. That ain't got nothing to do with people's personalities and what they want. Some people just got medical issues, they cannot have what they want. But when you talk about somebody who doesn't desire to do it, every last one of them women been trash. You know what I'm saying? Because I done talked to plenty of women and say, well, why don't you want to have kids? And normally, I'm going to say 99% of them going to automatically tell you right from the beginning it's about selfishness at the end of the day. I don't want to have kids because I'm going to have to take care of those kids. I'm going to do for those kids. I'm going to have to feed those kids, clothe those kids. And that's money I can spend on myself. Most of them going to admit that right away, even if they admit it by accident. That's really the primary reason. The secondary reason is they're going to start saying something about men that they mess with. And because they could not control the men they mess with, they don't want to have children. I've never heard any other real reason. It's always come down to selfishness, or I couldn't control the men I've messed with before. That's really the only real reasons out there, truth be told. So ain't none of them been a good person. They've been trash people. Now I'm not gonna say name of
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, you have a right to your perception. I'm just saying I don't agree with your perception at all. But you can say whatever your perception
Or
is.
observation.
What'd you say?
I said or observation. I've had my observations of certain things. But then again, you would also think I'm a little weird because I come from a different culture and whatnot.
No, I just don't think you've actually talked to them.
Hold on, let's ask neighbor. Under what circumstances have you observed what you think to be good women who have forsworn having children?
Well, like I just mentioned earlier, that like some women just do not have that desire in them. Something. It's just they don't have that maternal instinct. You know what I mean? Some women just do not have that.
Listen to what I'm asking. I'm asking you to describe a woman you've known in your life who you believe to be a good woman, but for whatever reason said, I'm just not going to have children. And, which also probably means, by the way, I'm not going to dedicate myself to a man, because that almost always is accompanied with the not having children part. I mean, how many women are dedicating themselves to men, but have forsworn having children? So she very likely has not only forsworn having children, she's also disclaimed probably ever truly committing to a man. But yet you're saying that this is supposedly a good woman. So how does that math work?
You know what, Black Guru? You just made me see different. So I'm going to have to apologize. You just made me see different when you just brought up those interesting facts. I can admit when I'm wrong. Just don't beat me down.
No, you know what? I think what it is, I think we too reflexively award people a certain privilege that when you look more closely at them does not really exist. We think maybe because she's nice, pleasant, or maybe she's particularly competent at her chosen field of endeavor or whatever, we'll project upon that means she's good. We've been kind of trained to think that. But when you think more deeply, again, what's the behavior of someone who says, I'm not going to have children, so which means I'm not going to be dedicated to a man. This is going to be a selfish woman. Now, she may be very competent in her work. She may make sure her lawn is done every day. I mean, she may have a good public presentation, but is that really a quote woman? That's a different criteria there.
You know what? That is you got me. First of all, I'm right now just rubbing my chin thinking about that right now. Considering what you're saying and explaining to me, sir. And there is a couple people that come to mind, and just thinking about that because like maybe I'm looking at it from a very ethnocentric lens, but
Well,
you do have a very
well,
but you do
well
have a very valid.
okay. Well,
Go
yeah, I
ahead.
wasn't trying to cut you off, but I'm gonna say, see, I've actually talked to women. I ask people
Mhm.
uncomfortable questions all the time because, which I've told y'all before, if you talk to strangers, strangers will usually open up to you because they don't expect to ever see you again. Every
Mhm.
woman that I've talked to who quote unquote didn't want to have a baby. Now I'm not talking about folks who had medical issues. I'm talking about a woman who just said, I'm not gonna have a baby. Very quickly, they're gonna say something where you can understand that it's due to literal selfishness. And some of them would just literally come out and say, look, I'm just too selfish. I don't want to spend money on children. I want to spend it on myself. They have literally said that directly. And then the other ones, it's gonna turn into some man did this to me. Some man that she wanted, and really what's gonna come out to be is I was with some bad men. I tried to change the men and I couldn't. So screw men
Mhm.
and children. Those are not good people at the end of the day. You know.
Okay. Well, regarding the second with the first argument you got there, Roger, I think we should all be glad those women are selfish as that. Because otherwise you would see a whole lot more baby mamas and there'd be a lot more drama.
Hey, I'm not saying worry about it. I ain't saying worry about it. I'm just
No,
saying.
no. I'm just saying we should be grateful and glad. I'm not trying to argue with you, Roger. I'm just bringing up I'm just bringing an interesting point here. I'm sure you can appreciate what I'm trying to say here.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I mean, if they like that, we
Okay,
don't
then.
know
Right,
what.
you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
some of those, but you know what? I always find that to be a bullshit argument, and I'm not saying to, this to criticize you, name her, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a fallacious. I think that's a fallacious description of how people actually live, and in particular, how they mature and how
Mm-hmm.
circumstances will change your perspective of things. Like, I was a much more selfish person before I had children.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people change and evolve for the better when they have children. Now, I'm not saying that's a good reason in and of itself to have children, but I don't subscribe to the notion, just sort of reflexively that, well, because she's a selfish bitch, that she might necessarily be a terrible mother. I've known a lot of women that, you would have thought that they were one particular kind of person and had some kids and became a very different kind of person. That the children, maybe the man that she had those children with, brought out a different side of her character. So I don't always buy this argument, well, it was a good thing this particular person. Now, if this person is very disturbed and is like outright evil, then yeah, we
Mm-hmm.
might be concerned about what kind of parents they're going to be. But I don't think that's the majority of people. I think for a lot of people, their lives, they might be pleasantly surprised by how their lives improve if they have children. Now, it'll be different and it'll put certain
Mm-hmm.
limitations on certain things could or could not do. But when you, like Roger, y'all were talking on the selfishness part, a lot of the reasons why you'll have some women say they don't want to have children are very sort of petty and selfish reasons. Like, well, I want to be able to go to shopping whenever I want to, or I want to be able to go to Paris or whatever. A lot of petty stuff. You can't base a whole life of you're going to live on 80 plus years, hopefully, on whether or not you can take some trip somewhere. That's only going to be exciting once or twice in your life. So even just the arguments that they make, even the basis for a lot of their selfishness is faulty. And sometimes having children will force you out of that fallacious thing. Sometimes.
Black Guru has a point there, especially considering the fact that, like, what to his point, it is said that motherhood does bring out the best in women.
You know what? All I'm gonna say is good luck to
I
every
can't
man
argue with that.
on good
All
luck
right,
to
all
every
right.
man on that one. That's all I can say. Because You know, if a selfish woman don't want to have children, I'm good with it. You know what I'm saying? And I do understand Black was correct, because at the end of the day, the man that you deal with may require other things out of the woman that previous men did not require. Because I do think that's a major issue with Black men. We don't require what we need to require out of these women. And, you know, the society will tell you should feel bad to put a requirement on women. So I get it. It don't change nothing just because I get it. You know, I require my woman to be a good woman, point blank, period. How society feels about that, I don't even have the ability to care less than what I already do. You know, so you know, the framing of those arguments, yeah, they are petty. A lot of times they are stupid. And that's why I say that they'll let you know, maybe not directly, but it's about selfishness at the end of the day. They don't have a real good reason. And a person is that selfish who will say, well, I don't want to have a kid because I might have to be responsible for one. It's not a good person. You know, there's nothing for me to say, oh, yeah, this person is good. You know, because what happens when a kid has to depend on you? You know, what about an unusual situation? Maybe you find a lost kid and the kid comes to you. The kid got to depend on you at that particular point. How you gonna treat the kid? You know. Now, I'm not saying put yourself in a bad situation. You know, because as Black men, that's something we got to worry about. But society don't care nothing about women and children. If any woman goes around and say this kid was lost, people just gonna take the kid and try to help find where the kid belongs from. Now, as a Black man, yeah, you got to deal with the reality that if you turn the kid in, they probably won't want to investigate you a little bit to see where you got that kid from. Nobody else in this American society has to deal with that. So a woman having an issue with kids is crazy. You know, that's just not a good person at the end of the day. And if she's not good in that aspect, there's plenty of other aspects in her life she's not going to be good at. Those are not good people. They just want credit for being good. You know, that's all I see.
Fair enough.
I ain't never talked to one of them that I would consider a good person.
As far as the medical thing goes, go ahead, sir. My apologies.
Look at it from a biological and ecological standpoint. We're all a species, right? And the maintenance of that species requires the overwhelming majority of us to reproduce. So ecologically, it's good for us to reproduce in order for the maintenance of our species. So by definition, any significant part of that species that either cannot reproduce or worse, chooses to not reproduce and is antithetical to reproducing is inherently bad. Even if you just remove the moral or biblical or whatever the hell you believe in aspect from it, from just a biological species standpoint, a portion of a population of a species that refuses to reproduce, it's a bad thing. That's a bad part of your species right there, biologically.
Yeah, the thought process is that I just don't want to reproduce is crazy in itself. Now, why would you ever be? Why would something like that even be coming across your mind? You know, and don't get it twisted. There's been women who, you know, obviously in their early 20s who say all this stuff or whatever. But my thing is like, why is that even a part of your thought process? Well, I just don't want to have no baby. You know, and the thing is, what a lot of men don't see is that's just her saying, I don't want to be attached to any man. Period. Some of that is that.
Yeah.
I don't want to be attached to no man. And I definitely don't want to listen to one.
No, but most of it, I believe, is that. And I would say between and amongst Black men in particular, I think there's a Black misandrous element to that. I think these are very often women who hate Blackness or hate Black maleness. And so that whole refusal to reproduce is sort of an act of defiance against, I would say, even the existence of Blackness and particularly the existence of Black men. That's how I would interpret it.
Yeah. So yeah, I that's why I say that out of all the billions of women on the planet, if you just have an issue or you just won't do it, nah, I don't think you're a good person. I'm pretty sure if I dig into your life a little bit, I'm gonna start finding out terrible thought processes going on in your head. you know, because every single one of them that I have done, it's been terrible thought processes going on in their head. Which is why I don't think no guy can fumble a good woman. If you a bad man and you got a woman, she had no business being with you if she was a good woman in the first place. And a good woman ain't an idiot. So therefore, even if you get a good woman as a bad man, she's gonna figure this out. Because I don't buy into this thing. And a lot of us as men, we do buy into it. We just don't pay attention to how we buy into it. I just don't buy into the fact that women are stupid. I refuse to accept that as reasoning that a woman is doing this, that, and that. I don't think she's stupid. She just does what she wants to do. And we like stupid stuff sometimes as humans. It's just a reality. If you eat ice cream, you know ice cream ain't really good for you, but you eat it from time to time. It's not a smart move, but we like it. You know, you grab a Snickers out the store. You know, they literally got a whole thing about putting certain things when you checking out. So you'll grab some item that you really don't supposed to have. You grab your Snickers while you checking out. You done bought groceries. You got all this healthy stuff, and they got the Snickers right there, right before you cash out on what's going on with the grocery store. Why? And you buy it. It ain't good that you bought it. It ain't designed to be a healthy snack. It's a Snickers, but you get it.
It's called a guilty pleasure.
No,
well,
but
I'm just saying, as humans, we're going to do stupid stuff from time to time. It just is what it is.
I think the point is that I do get it. Like I'm in the middle. I do think that some women, for example, I do think some women don't make good mothers, and not being a mother is probably the best thing for them and society. There's a lot of women that should not have been mothers, that whose children are terrorizing the streets of Chicago, terrorizing the streets of Philadelphia, etc., etc. And if those women said that they want, and if those women would have decided not to have children, I think that would have been the best for everyone. So I'm kind of in the middle on that. But there is this thing about your biological imperative to want to have children. So I'm kind of stuck in the middle. But at the end of the day, even if we move aside from children, when we're talking about good women, again, the only time a woman is good is when when it's in the wintertime and you're homeless. Other than that, because I know Chicago is cold, Philadelphia is cold, New York is cold. So if it ain't wintertime, you know.
Well, my thing is, there's nothing to be stuck in the middle about. If a bad woman don't wants to have children, I don't think nobody's mad at that at all. But when it comes down to women choosing not to have children, because my thing is, I ask women about, okay, well, how did you get to this conclusion? None of them have ever came across as a good person whatsoever. 100% of them have come off as bad people that I would not want to attach myself to. None of them struck me as a good woman whatsoever. And it was always pretty much selfishness, just straight up selfishness at the end of the day. Or it came down to some dudes I used to date that did me like this.
But if
I really didn't hear nothing else.
But if she is bad as what you say she is, then the most philanthropic thing she can do is to never have children.
Well, but I'm saying that's not being argued. Everybody seemed cool on that. We're not arguing that.
Yeah.
Screw it at the end of the day. Yeah.
So that's why I'm stuck in the middle, because if you're an ancient person, because you can be an ancient person and still be good if you're doing the right stuff. I think.
Well, I think somebody like that could have a good kid that may end up being okay, but I mean that's a risk in itself, because when you put a kid under the care of a terrible person, how's that person really gonna come out? They could come out good and positive, but we don't know it.
Most likely they're gonna be ancient.
I'm just saying so it's a real big risk to even give them a child to take care of if we were willing to do that. So if a terrible person tell me they ain't finna have no kid, I don't see it as a great loss. That's just me. I don't see it as great loss at all. So what? You're not having kids. But my point, the point though is that there are no good women to fumble. You can't fumble a good woman. A good woman not supposed to be with a bad man in the first place. So if a bad man gets a good
Well,
woman,
in
that's the
most
situation that ain't supposed to
cases,
happen.
the woman is good.
I agree.
In most cases, the woman is good because the man is good. The man provides the environment, provides the resources, the direction um, for that woman to be good. So that's why I always say, focus on your mission, your objective, your vision, because to the extent you do that, you provide the environment, the resources, the direction for that woman to be good. It's much easier for a woman to be a good woman when she's following you in a very clearly defined and enabled direction.
I don't
Usually
believe
they go bad when they're trying to do things on their own, uh, you know, and have an arrogant disposition about, their role in a relationship with you. Then, well, I'm an independent woman. I don't need nobody. I don't want nobody. Then that's very often when they get bad. But if you got things in order, it makes it much easier for her to be good because it makes it much easier to put her in a certain paradigm of behavior that you can observe and monitor and kind of correct if necessary. But
no,
if
I
you
just
can't provide that, then it makes it easier for the lesser nature of the female to manifest.
but Black Guru, I have to give a little bit of pushback because, for example, you have two daughters. The reason why your two daughters are good is not because of their husband; it's because of you, the foundation, right? Because a good woman,
I mean, that's a
if she
false dichotomy. That's a
no,
false
hear me out, hear me
dichotomy.
out, hear
It's
me out, hear me
because
out,
of you.
hear me out. Let me finish. Because at the end of the day, if that environment is not conducive for her to keep her morals or her character or whatever, she's gonna leave that environment, right? Because that's not she cannot thrive or survive in that area. I think people are who they are, right? And it's through the hard times, it's through the struggles that you actually see what a person is made of. So yeah, like if you do provide everything, cool. Yeah, it's easy to do, but like New Edition says, ho, can you stand the rain? Because that's the true
Well,
measure of a person's
I mean, I don't see things as linearly as you appear to describe. I mean, I think how well, particularly my older daughter who is married, obviously she's a product of the foundation that my wife and I gave to her. But right now, in the last few years she's been married, she's also very much how well she does is very much a function of the integrity of her marriage and the direction of her husband and what he's got going on and
I,
the environment and the protection that he provides. So I
but
mean, it's the foundation you build, but then there's also the maintenance or the edifice you put on that foundation, the maintenance, that you must provide of that edifice that you put on that foundation as well. So these are things all work together. They're not, this or that. They all work
I will
together
agree with you. I
ecologically.
agree. I agree they work together, but what we're talking about is the testing of the character of a person, a good woman, right? Because when we're saying a good woman, normally we're talking about her character, right? And your character is normally tested through a trial or a tribulation. That's who we see who you really are.
Yeah,
I mean, generally, yes, but most of your life is not going to be some emergency, life or death scenario. Most of your life is going to be day to day, accumulation of a lot of small things that might
Right.
appear to be insignificant while they're happening, but over time, you know, it's a much bigger and much more important thing. It's like saying hello to your neighbor every day, and it seems like a little thing, and then that neighbor dies and leaves you in the state because you said hello to her every day.
Well, I mean,
Sometimes it's the big important things, but a lot of life is about very little things, very sort of minor things that build up and accumulate over time. The
Right. So,
value of
I'm
that
not saying you
builds
have
up
to
and
be.
accumulate over time.
I'm not saying you have to be life changing. I'm going to say it can be just the everyday common things that happen. Like, for example, God forbid, maybe someone lost their job. Is she going to be there? Okay, or God forbid, he broke his arm, so now he needs her to, or broke his leg, needs her to help him down the stairs. It doesn't have to be these huge things. It could just be
Well,
inconveniences, right? It
yeah,
can be inconveniences.
I wanted to throw something out there as an inconvenience, y'all. Let's say, for example, I am 100% broke. I got nothing. Okay, I'm at
Right,
zero.
right.
You work a job that pay you every 2 weeks. You just got paid, but now I'm at zero. Had to spend everything I got. Ain't really got no food in the fridge. It's about to be a tough 2 weeks. Now I could just go pick up this pistol and rob somebody.
Right,
Rob a couple people, I'd probably be all right. I'm not a
right.
bad person. I just need to get a little something to pay their cup. Okay. So now the thing is, am I still a good person? I'm down to zero.
If you
Payday
rob
2 weeks away. You know what I'm saying? I just want
if
to
you
rob
rob,
2 or 3 people so I
you're
have
not a
something
good
to pay
person.
them.
You're not a good person.
So my thing is, I do think, you make a great point about, can you stay in the rain when it ain't so comfortable and it ain't so convenient? What are you going to revert to? Because we all could revert to our lesser nature. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Let me just go get the ratchet. I get me 2-3 people. If I can get away with that, I'm good till I get paid again. I'm not
Yeah.
really a killer. I'm not really a robber, but I'm just short right now.
But you are. Because again, in a time of tribulation, what are you going to revert to? So, like, for example, right? If I'm broke, okay, well, let me go on OnlyFans and let me throw this monkey on somebody, right? She a slut.
I mean, yeah, if you like, well, if I do 3 hours of OnlyFans, I might have what I need until I get paid again.
Because that's what you revert to, and you probably did it before, just like you, right? If you think if you're in your 40s and like, okay, well, let me go get the ratchet, get a couple people to rob somebody, that means you were robbing before. That absolutely means you robbed before. Because robbers don't rob. Because people who never rob people, when they go broke, is robbing somebody is not the first thing that comes to their mind.
Hey, that's a good point.
So that's
That
all
is
I'm
a good
saying,
point.
man. That's all I'm saying. Right? In tribulation, is she gonna throw that monkey on OnlyFans? In tribulation, is she gonna tickle little balls from your neighbors and pay rent?
I think that's a good point because what you do during the rain, I do believe for other people that's a test of your character. That's how other people get to see your character. You
Yeah.
already know what your character is, but it's a way that your behavior is going to manifest where it can show other people what your true nature is.
Or
Because
even
you're right. At the end of the day, if I'm broke and payday 2 weeks away, I ain't finna go rob nobody. It's just 2 weeks. I'd be all right. You know what I'm saying? I'll figure it out. You know?
perfect example. Perfect example. Like small things. Say you lost a job. You were living on your savings. You and her were living on your savings. Now you got a job. 2 weeks. You'll get your next paycheck. Is she talk? Look how she talking to you. Because yeah, maybe she thinks with you, but how she talk to you though, right? Is she still nice and sweet, or is it Negro? You better get out my face.
No, I get you there. I get you there. And
Right, so
and
that's
that is
right.
something to think about. That is something to think about, you know. Shout out to Landon. He said, gotta get a Roger a plug on fentanyl. See that's
Oh, that's foul. That is foul. That is foul, Landon.
no that I wouldn't sell fentanyl to no black people.
No, but like
Get the hell no.
so like
Stay away from that stuff, man. Stay away from that stuff. But for real. For real. Go ahead, Hot Sauce. Go ahead.
So
Go on, Spicy.
Let my plan is here, right? So how she talked to you, right? Now maybe I don't like the way she talking to me, right? But again, Chicago winters are cold, so and if she paying the bills, I'm just gonna have to take it.
Yeah, and especially when you're down by that lake too. Yeah, and we got that lake effect going on over here, y'all. We got that lake.
Because Philadelphia is by the ocean also. So when that cold air hit and that wind chill by the time it goes through that cruise down, boy.
Yeah, that lake effect different, y'all. That lake effect different. I'm just saying.
Yeah, she's good, man. She's good. And winter, I'm telling you.
Nah, yeah, and my thing is, of course, you want your woman to stay a good woman even during hard times, because hard times should make you change who you are as a person. So, a bad thing is that you have to sometimes accept that this is who that person has been the whole time. If you start seeing them go a little bit too crazy just because y'all run into a quote unquote difficult situation, because everybody is good when the money flowing freely and everything's, when stuff flow freely, that it's easy to be good. I'm just gonna say that it's easy to be good, which is one of the reasons I say at the end of the day you're better off getting somebody when you're young in the first place, because when you get older, depending upon how you handle your situations, things are always getting better, and you got stuff that you got years ago that you can still rely on at that particular time. You got more savings built up. You can deal with a negative patch a little bit easier at that point. Dealing with a bad thing at 43 is a whole lot different than dealing with a bad thing at 23. Because at 23, you ain't really got together yet. You just kind of coming into your own. If you went to college, you just got out a little while ago, or you still may be going to grad school or something. You may not technically even really be out yet, So it's a lot of other different contexts to put with it. So, this whole thing about a woman being good and then a guy losing her, and now he has something to cry about, I just don't think happens, because I don't think guys leave good women on the market. I think when guys come across good women, they take them off the market. That's my personal belief. I've never heard of a man who met a good woman and just didn't marry that woman. I ain't never heard of it. And I know.
I think part of what we're seeing there on that video is the knucklehead who gets with a woman who likes knuckleheads and does a lot of good things for knuckleheads, but she only do those things for knuckleheads. Maybe the ultimate example of that is women who like marrying and put shit on the books of dudes that are in prison. So, and then things fall through from them, but then she's been the good woman because she did all this shit for a knucklehead when she wasn't shit herself to begin with. So I think what I see on that video is I see a bunch of knuckleheads who done knucklehead shit, lamenting that they lost the plug on the knucklehead shit. That she was a bitch who did something for a knucklehead, and he blew that up for whatever reason. Probably started dealing with some other ain't shit bees, right? And he blew that up, and now he's reflexively looking back on, man, I wish I still had that plug on that woman who, wasn't shit, but she did stuff. But that's kind of how I look at or interpret what that video was showing.
Yeah, because I don't like. I'm starting to agree more with Roger, because I don't know any man that's gonna live with a woman and your iron is for your clothes and serves as your foreman grill. Because I was poor where I couldn't afford the gas, so The iron was cooking my peanut butter hot sandwich plus ironing my clothes for a minute. And if you find a woman who's gonna still gnaw your meat while living like that, nobody's throwing that away.
Exactly. There's a huge benefit to that because when all you can afford is that studio apartment, she down to be in there with you. That says she like you, not your situation.
And,
You know what
your heater and your heater is the blow dryer. This is how you say, man. I lived like this for a little bit, man. Like it was so cold, and I'm in China at the time, man. And I don't know what I was doing, but we had to sleep with our jackets on. And I'm in her hometown, man. We had to sleep with her jacket on, stuff like that. And it would get so cold that I had to go to the appliance store to buy a hair dryer. So like every 3 hours, I would just blow the hot air under the covers to sleep. And man, she would be like, how do you know how to do stuff like that?" I was like, "I grew up poor." So, when that blow dryer becomes a space heater and she's still with you, you know what I
Say
mean?
it's
And not
real.
talking to you bad, not talking any kind of way to you. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's how you know it's real when you put out the blow dryer to heat the sheets. That's how you know it's real.
Yeah,
You never heard of heating the house with the oven and just everybody sleeping on the floor? You never heard of that either?
I couldn't afford the gas, man.
Yeah, no. I'm saying, yeah, the character is going to come out more in these tougher situations where it's just easy to see where somebody will shine. So the idea that you lost a good woman, because number one, I do see it the way Black Hoover was saying it. You looking at women who did something for a knucklehead, and then the guy messed up where she found out something too much, and then he got cut off. You know what I'm saying? And now she's doing something from another knucklehead. But I've also asked women about those. Why do you do stuff for the bad guy, but you don't do stuff for the good guy? And women told me straight up, it wasn't even nothing sweet about it. It was just plain old. Well, you already got it, so why give it to you? You cool, so why give you anything? It wasn't even nothing sweet about it. I'll do something for the knucklehead because he ain't got it. But if I think you got it, I ain't giving you nothing. So they punishing you for
Yeah,
actually
because
advancing
it was
yourself.
about it was also about her power and her convenience, with that knucklehead. The knucklehead made me feel good because I had this elevated status. He was in and out of jail. I got a good government job. He was locked up. I got a nice apartment. I can, I look great compared to him. I look like, so I do a few things for him. I let him drive my car when he's out on probation or some shit like that. And I seem like a good woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she ain't shit either. So again, when you listen to what they're presenting, to me, they're talking about ain't shit dudes who lost ain't shit women. And like you said, probably lost those ain't shit women to the next crop of ain't shit dudes.
Yep. And there's a little bit of saltiness in there if there's something big that you was expecting. Like, I'm gonna take you to this particular concert because your birthday was coming up. But now you lost it before the concert came up. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of salty about that, especially, Or I'm gonna help you get you a car. We got 3,000 right now. When we get to 5,000, we're gonna go buy you a car. So you almost got a car deal, but next thing you know, you got caught up and she done found you with Monica, and now she kicking you out.
Sure.
So you ain't getting it. Those are tough losses for men.
And now he on social media saying, "Man, how I messed up a good woman." Well, but that so-called good woman hop skipped her nasty ass every day. She was in the office somewhere and Daryl was trying to holler at her. Daryl in the county was trying to holler at her, and she didn't want to have nothing to do with Daryl because she was an ain't shit woman. She would rather all have Daquan come pick her up in her car,
Mm-hmm.
every evening while he had just got through dealing with Keisha, who at the McDonald's right down the street from where he be dropping her off at work. I mean, that's how they do that shit, man.
Well,
That's how they do
all I
that.
can say is that she likes to make Keisha taste. That's why she
Right,
likes to make Keisha
right.
taste.
What was that? What was that? Remember? What was that? Poetic Justice, where the woman told the other woman, every time you kiss him in the mouth,
Uh-huh.
you taste
Yeah.
his mind. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's what you dealing with.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
you're dealing with. So no,
Keisha ain't
they
never
are
taste
all
bad.
in a cycle of dysfunction. But the woman is perceived to be good because she has at least some temporary elevated status over that man. So she's a so-called good woman. When she, like I say, she ain't shit herself.
Black Guru, you bring up a great point. Keisha ain't never taste bad to an ain't S woman. Because look at Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
Eating all the
Well,
eating all tasty stuff. So,
Oh,
gentlemen, if you have a problem with your Keisha, if you have a problem with your woman, that's because she cannot taste Keisha off your ride. Fix it.
well,
I mean,
and
a
that's
lot
why.
of them are tasting some Keisha. A lot of Michelle's out here tasting some Keisha.
Huh?
Daquan be very indiscriminate out here.
Well, and that's why I'm saying that this narrative really needs to be the holes need to be shot up in this narrative, and guys shouldn't be buying this stuff at the end of the day because if first of all, let's be realistic. Let's be realistic. Will a good woman do something for a man who then went to prison over something he actually did? I'm not talking about nobody who got falsely accused. I'm talking about he actually did it, right? Why would a good woman seek a man out who's in prison? And let's keep it real, y'all. Now that they didn't open the floodgates, you got women trying to do all types of stuff for men in prison right now. Now, if you just look at their life, you might say, oh, this is potentially a good woman. This woman has a degree. She even if she don't have a degree, but some of them gonna have a degree. She has a good, stable job. She been there 5 years or longer. Okay. She has her own apartment or own house. She has a car, she has a decent car that she drives around or whatever the case is. She does her hair all the time. Her nails are always done. She wears nice outfits or whatever the case is. And you don't know nothing else about the woman. A lot of people say, "Whoa, that's a good woman." But that same woman is trying to get the attention of a man that's in prison for doing all kinds of stuff. Not just selling drugs, robbing, stealing cars from people, breaking and entering, you know what I'm saying? All kinds of stuff been going on with this dude. Don't let it be something where it got really aggressive, where it's like aggravated assault or something like that, or anything close to murder. Those guys get more women lined up for them trying to get their attention while they're online. Now, why would I perceive a so-called good woman is trying to get the attention of a man who's been convicted of a crime, who's in prison right now? Why would I even perceive that as a good woman? Now, you
Roger, they're
can't
trying to
say
help the
black
community.
women ain't doing it.
They're trying to help the community, Roger. Reduce the recidivism rate. Yeah, you got to give these guys when they get out a soft place to land.
Well,
Give them a place to be, and then help them get started, relaunch their life. They're trying to reduce recidivism. That's what they're trying to help, right?
well, the thing is that it depends. If they were with him before he was incarcerated, then I would say it's a good woman. If after, then I think she just have problems. Because like let's look at Hillary Rodham Clinton, right? She stood by Bill Clinton through impeachment, through an affair, right? To me, she's a good woman.
Okay, but most of these women ain't with the dudes. When usually, if as a man, if you got a woman and you go to prison, you just broke up. It's always a new woman trying to get male
Well,
attention from prison. That's normally how it goes. Most women ain't quote unquote holding their man down till he get out. Let's just be real about that.
well, I think you got bigger problems than her breaking up. You got to protect your backside.
What? But we not talking about what the man got to deal with. We talking about if the woman is good. Because the woman would claim she's good because I met a man, I gave him a chance because he was in prison. Women say that stuff all the time. I met a man, he was in prison. I met a man who wasn't doing nothing. I got him to clean himself up and try to
Oh,
become something.
that's a sick person. That's sick. That's sick.
Is
I
that
don't.
not what women say on a regular basis, that they try to clean guys up?
I do not understand that love after lockup crap. I do not understand that.
What? And then the whole thing is too, in those situations, you still got Daryl's out there. There's different Daryls. Maybe it's Daryl from accounting. Maybe it's Daryl that work the he work at the building across the street. Y'all share lunchtime together. Y'all see each other. He try to pick you up, but you tell him no on a regular basis. But you buying a cell phone trying to get snuck into a prison to some dude. These are real things that are going on, and then people try to present it as there was some good woman who was trying to help out some guy, and he just didn't appreciate her. That's not happening anywhere. You're not gonna run into it. You're just not. The only way.
Really, if you adjust for the probability of, and I don't want to. Let me preface this by saying, I don't want to lean too heavy on brothers who have had some issues and end up locked up or whatever. I don't want to. I'm not saying this to make an indictment against somebody who might have actually gone on to correct their life. But my point is, particularly within the Black community, when you talk about this good woman done bad thing, more times than not, that man has been involved in some nefarious activity, and that woman knew, and that was a part of his attraction to her. That was a part of why she was drawn to that. So part of his nefarious nature was why she was drawn to that man in the beginning. And you know how you know this is true? This is how you know it's true. Remember when they were doing, or you've seen them do, these street studies where they say, would you take a 9-to-5 guy, a scammer, or a drug dealer? What percentage of them says scammer or drug dealer? I think it was in the plus 85%.
It was like 90%. It was like 90 fucking percent.
Yeah. With this weird sort of I think we kind of want to do the scammer because maybe the scammer isn't as dangerous as the drug. It was an interesting sociological.
The number one was the scammer.
I
the
think
second
the
was the
scammer
drug
and
dealer.
the drug dealer.
Yeah, the scammer was number one. The drug dealer was number two. Then the surgeon. The surgeon was number three. A surgeon.
Exactly. So now those would be, many of them would consider themselves to be good women who got with a scammer or a drug dealer. And then the scammer and the drug dealer did his scammer drug dealer thing, but then he also did it with some other women. She gets mad. I was a good woman. I was there for him, etc., whatever. That Negro gets locked up eventually because all scammers and drug dealers eventually get locked up. Then when he gets out or whatever, probation, whatever, man, I messed up a good woman. That's the story we saw presented there. That's the epic we saw. I'm telling you, that is 80+% of your so-called I messed up a good woman story right there. That's the scenario.
And you got to really ask yourself, if she was a good woman, how she ended up with that dude in the beginning? Because what good woman ends up with that? You know, so I can understand.
But
I
like
don't
I
have
say, the fact that they would put their face to saying that I'd rather have a scammer or drug dealer says to me that there's a high percentage of women who would consider themselves to be good women, who have a preference for illegality amongst their men.
absolutely. Now I got two new guests coming up. I'm gonna give it to Red Pill Sleeper Cell because he was trying to get in for a while. You know, Chan Coughlin, I don't know if you know, but Red Pill Sleeper Cell been trying to get in for a good while. So I'm gonna let him get the mic first, just in case something happens to him again. Then we'll get you right after. Red Pill Sleeper Cell, how you doing, brother?
What's up, everybody? Roger panel. First of all, everybody that's listening, if you got the ability to put a post on your channel, please put the Roger Report on your post so whoever's following you could resubscribe to get this brother back to monetization. Uru, I've been on plenty of panels where women are talking about they want a mixture of Ghost and Barack Obama all in one in a man. These women don't know what they want.
And Tupac. Don't forget Tupac.
Oh, yeah. I forgot Tupac.
Well, I think Ghost the replacement for Tupac. I think Ghost the replacement. You know what I'm saying? They just replace him. But it's got to be that in there. Go ahead, Red Pill. Go ahead, brother. We didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, brother. If you have more you wanted to say.
That's all I have to contribute. But what mainly is everybody that's listening, let's get this brother back on track with his subscription count. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I definitely appreciate you saying that, my brother. Real talk. Real talk. Okay, Champ Cop for life. You got the mic, my brother.
Hey, what's going on, Roger? I'm glad you're back on YouTube and everything. And, I made it to my 51st anniversary on this earth. And just want to say what's up to the panel and everything else. But I also want to say this.
Well, happy birthday, brother. Happy birthday.
General, the society that we're living in is basically just made a lot of these women, to pick bad men and everything else. And generally it's just really hard to find a really good woman and everything else. I'm very fortunate enough to be unmarried and have no children and everything else because hell, I mean, I don't know if I would have made it to my 51st birthday, to be honest with you, with all the chaos that some of these ladies today are bringing in today. So, that's all I wanted to say and everything. So I just want to say I'm glad you're back and you're having this whole thing going on today.
All right. Well, I appreciate you saying that. And I'm going to let y'all know, man, I ain't going nowhere, y'all. Until God tell me different, I'm here. Okay? If something happened to this channel, which hopefully nothing happens to it, hopefully this will be the last time I got to start over, But just give me a day or two. I'll be right back. That's what it is, y'all. Just give me a day or two. I'm going to be right back. Okay? I know what the mission is. And I'm going to keep doing it till the mission is complete. Real talk. And I don't think the mission is going to be complete before I die. I think I'll be long gone before the mission is truly complete. But I believe that we can get where we need to be. And, Ghost and Obama, that's a heck of a combination. That's all I'm saying. Ghost and Obama is a heck of a combination. But I do believe, that's what a lot of black women, are looking at. And the thing is, they just don't have a person who's as successful as Ghost was on that show. And, they still want to help these guys that's in prison, which means what, y'all? I'm not talking about, this is not me saying anything. Well, I'm really trying to direct negativity toward the guys that's in prison. What I am going to talk about is a real thing. The guys in prison have been convicted of certain crimes, And I'm talking about the guys who actually did it, not people who got caught up in some nonsense. But you've done certain crimes that the women look at it as that's adventurous, that's torturous. You hurt another black man, so therefore I'm getting wet for you. I get wet for black men who hurt other black men. Because if they do that and I can control them, then I can control a lot of what's going on in my personal world. And I just think they just into it at the end of the day. I ain't mad at it, but I do believe that is the actual reality of the situation. They want a guy that will make them feel like they can have whatever around them be in a controlled situation. Now, does it work out that way? Not necessarily, but that's where their mindset is. So they're willing to do something for a guy who's already considered bad. And yes, to try to promote that they are a good woman, because women do care about their image. If I'm willing to give this low life a chance, then you can't say I'm a bad woman. I think it's one of the main reasons. You know?
Well, see, and that's the thing. Women, I don't think really don't want good, stable, strong-minded men anymore. They just want the bad, thug out type of man and all that. So they can hope they can maybe control, turn it into to a pookie and everything else. And it really doesn't work that way and everything else. Whereas if you're a good man, you run into a woman that's got, you went into a woman in this day and age, she's going to drive you insane and turn you, a stable guy who's got a good job and everything else, it's going to turn your life upside down to the point that you're going to about to jump off a cliff and everything else. A lot of these women, try to push these men who are stable and everything that's good, caring and everything else. They push these men to their brink to their death
So what?
and
Well,
everything else. And they talk bad about him as well too, as my brother just said earlier about Michelle Obama and everything else. The way how she's talking about Barack Obama, it's almost like she's talking about him every day whenever she has her podcast. And I'm not, and I haven't heard anybody check it. I mean, I haven't heard anybody check on him and everything else. They haven't checked on Michelle Obama talking about her husband like that.
Well, this is the thing. Women care about their image. It's a lot easier to say I did something good for a man who's in a bad situation. And that's what I think a lot of guys don't really get. See, if you already got you a job, okay, if you already got you a business, if you already in the military, if you already in college, if you already in the trade school, how does the woman promote that she's a good woman? Because you're already doing something. You see, it's real easy to say, I'm a good woman. My man was in prison, and when he got out, I helped him do this and I helped him do that. I'm a good woman because I got me a man who ain't got no job at all. And I helped him get his resume together so he can get hired. See, that's all image stuff. I'm a good woman because I took a guy who was in a messed up situation. He was behind on child support and I helped him get caught up. See what I'm saying? It's easy to say how I'm a good woman because you're comparing it to what she's done for some particular man. But let you already be in college. How's she gonna show she a good woman and you already in college? Because it starts early, and that's why it's a lot of women who are in college who don't deal with the guys who are on campus. They want to deal with if they dealing with a black guy, they're gonna want to deal with a guy who's not in college because she wants to be able to say, "I'm at an elevated position and I brought this man up." And that's really what the main goal is. I was in an elevated position and I brought this man up. But if a woman meets you, even if you work for UPS, how's she gonna say she good to you? You already was working at UPS. So how's she gonna be a good woman? Well, that means she actually got to do something for you. She's gonna have to make an actual effort. Because she can't say I'm a good woman because I gave him some money because he was broke. You working at UPS already. And I'm saying that about any job. It ain't just UPS, it's any job.
But see, I think, and I'm not blaming men, but I emphasize this point about what is your life mission, what's your life objective? Because I think we let women off the hook for not giving them shit to do. for us. I think that's a huge mistake in hindsight. I mean, I'm not pretending to be particularly naturally wise at all, because I had to learn this over time. I learned that the more I had a clear vision of what I was trying to do, the much more helpful and beneficial my wife was to me. It's much better to be in a position where you're proactive in terms of creating something for a woman to do for you rather than react. And I think because so many of us are raised by women and to the whims of women and stuff, we don't learn that core sort of fundamental masculine necessity of being in the position in which you are dictating something to this woman, and not just because you're a man dictating, but no, some real shit that you need for this woman to do for you. And that's remiss amongst the vast majority of black men. Even a lot of very productive black men make the mistake of not giving black women enough shit to do. Give her something to do so you can quickly identify how faithful she is going to be to you and to your mission. And if you're really smart, you'll do it in a way, at least initially, where it's evident that something is needed to be done, but you don't necessarily direct her to do it, and then see if she herself think it's her job and her role to do it. Because if she does that, then that's somebody you probably can really make your wife in your life, your spouse, and do so in a way in which there is more control over her behavior and whatever, because she clearly knows I got to do this shit for this man. You need her in a position where she's like, I got to do this shit for this man. I got to give this shit to this man. I got to help this man with this. He needs this done. He shouldn't have to ask me to do it. Hell, I went to college partly to already be able to do this shit. These bitches be having marketing degrees and all this kind of shit. They ain't help you to market shit. You don't have all kinds of behavioral scientist degrees. They ain't help you do no interviews or none of that shit. And if they're not proactively offering to help you, then you know right now she ain't no damn good for you. You know that right out. You should know that right in the beginning. She ain't no good for you.
What you get your degree in? Well, I went to school for business. Okay, so how come your man got a business that he trying to get off the ground?
Ain't tried to help you with your administration, your filing system. This got a whole HR degree. She ain't trying to help you with no hiring, no interviews, or none of that kind of shit. That's telling you right now she ain't no good for you. You don't even have to ask her. If she has certain skill sets that clearly complement what you're trying to do, and she's not coming through the door offering those, oh, you got to get rid of her. You got to get rid of her. You're wasting your time.
And shout out to Kevin 3905. He said something that really should stick with people. He said she can't write the narrative with the good man. And see, that's a huge part of it, y'all, because unless you are a trash man and ain't really got nothing going on for yourself and ain't really trying to do nothing, she can't come in there and say, yeah, I got this man to become this particular thing, so therefore I get credit. Helping a man, that's something that a lot of sisters reject, which is why you got these things called pick-me's out here. They label women pick-me's. And if you know about a pick-me, that comes from black women saying that women who help black men are nigger lovers. It was just coded language to say nigger lover. So the ideal of helping a black man is not supposed to be cool. And the thing is, it's about helping a black man that you can't control. So yeah, if you already in the military, well, she can't control you. You a military man. So she don't want to help you. Now, Pookie, who ain't did nothing, well, if I can get Pookie to do something, then I can get credit for helping him. So a lot of black women, they truly want to be the leader of the relationship. And they're seeking out men if they really believe that they can get props for being the leader of the relationship. She wants to be able to say, I run my house. You know, I mean, women talk this equality stuff, but they ain't looking for equality. They looking for absolute control. They want to be in what's considered a man's position. It's just that simple at the end of the day. And she wants to embarrass you while she does it. And you gonna have to make a decision. Is that cool with you or is it not cool with you? You know, I know some guy be like, man, well, she worried about this guy, that guy. Why are you bothered by a low-class woman trying to be with a man who's far lower than you? And I'm not saying lower as a person. I'm saying the way he chooses to live his life makes him lower than you. Why are you worried about that broad who want to be with a guy who won't live his life in the correct way so he can expound, whatever his position is? If she want to be with him, let her have him. You know what I'm saying? But we don't do that the way we should because we value them too much. And you know what? We have not been raised to tell them what to do. Because even as Black Guru was speaking right there, he's talking about a man being a leader. A lot of us, we don't want to lead women because we've been told it's bad. And women have convinced us that it's bad for you to be a leader, while simultaneously telling you that you're the leader.
It's so bad that we get offended at the notion of telling a woman something to do. We get offended at it. You trying to boss her around. They've trained us as men to be offended to even suggest that a woman is supposed to do something we tell them to do. So we're so far afield from being from creating that environment of leadership that I'm not blaming it on the women, because like I say, they perpetuate this nonsense. They perpetuate, and they're agents of the gynocracy. I'm not removing them from responsibility at all. But I also believe that there is some percentage of women who can be led when it's clear you're going to be the leader, and you force them to be in a position where I have no choice but either submit to this man or get the hell away from him. And I think you do. I think it is your responsibility as a man to put them in that position where they have to make that choice.
And I'm gonna say, I think that a lot of guys who, and I'm gonna say, I think it's more prevalent, I'll say, in the guys who were raised by their mamas. Some of y'all think y'all doing the right thing. You're gonna take a position of, well, she wants to be in charge, so I'm just gonna let her be in charge. And then when she mess up, she'll have to deal with it. I think that's what your mindset is. But the reality is, you're not gonna make her deal with being in charge. She's gonna get to a certain point. It's gonna get messed up, and then you're gonna step in because you're a man. And you only gonna let stuff fall so far. And the fact that you're gonna rescue the situation defeats the whole purpose of you letting her be in charge in the first place. Because she ain't gonna never have to deal with the consequences of her bad decisions. Because you're not gonna let her. I said before about, if something going on, how, man, I consider I won't pay no bill in the house. We just lose that, and we'll lose everything. But who want to lose the house though? So when it comes down to it, you only gonna let her mess up so much, and then you're gonna step in and rescue her. So she ain't gonna learn nothing. But the easy way to do it is to have in your mindset that I'm just gonna let her be in charge, so she'll figure out how bad she is at being in charge. You ain't gonna do it. You got to be real with yourself at some point. Because a real leader, he's gonna make his mistakes, and then he's gonna pay the penalty for the mistake he made. The women don't never have to pay a penalty for the mistake they make. And then from a societal standpoint, they'll never get blamed anyway. And they're going to tell you themselves, why you let me drive the car? I'm going to say shout out to Sergeant Willie Pete, who gave the analogy of, a woman always trying to drive. You finally let her drive, and then she run into a tree or something, and then she going to blame you for letting her drive. That's all that's going to really happen at the end of the day. You still gonna get the blame for everything. So why won't you just stand up to her and just tell her, look, you gonna get in the passenger seat, I'm gonna be in the driver's seat, and this is where we going. And it is what it is. And if you don't like where we going, get out the car. But a lot of men, We don't break up with women, so we're never going to say that. And the women know that. Now, that's my thing. We just gonna go to where we going. If you don't like where we going, you can get out. You know, I think that's one of the best things for black men, especially to do. If you don't like where we going, just get out. I'm not gonna argue with you about it. I ain't gonna worry about it. Just get out. You know, if you can make it on your own, make it. And it's that simple at the end of the day. But you got to actually be convinced that you're willing to do some stuff without that woman. And unfortunately, I think a lot of us, we've been really trained that we have to be attached to the woman no matter what's going on. Now, it may be sound funny and whatnot, y'all, but I'm saying you got to look at your real life and see, do I really have to be attached to women no matter what? Okay, we're not supposed to be stuck when it comes to women. You know, we ain't supposed to be. And the thing is, which I'm going to say a lot of black men don't understand about leadership. A leader means doing it without everybody else. A lot of y'all so-called, y'all believe leadership is about how many followers you got. No, a leader is the person who's going to go do it without anybody. A leader inspires other people to come help. How do you inspire somebody to come help you? You do it on your own first. You know, but we don't think like that, and we get stuck when it comes to women. You know, and I don't know how you're gonna get anything moving if you're stuck. I don't do that. You know, so this whole thing about a man could fumble a good woman, I think it's just an entirely crazy concept in itself. But I do get why people would fall for it. And y'all are so used to reducing yourself to being a woman, which is why a lot of places in social media, everybody keeps saying this stuff about, well, what if you reverse the roles? Why do that come up so much if you don't see yourself as a woman? I really don't say it that much because I don't see myself as a woman. I'm just telling y'all that's just straight up what it is for me. I don't really say it because I ain't a woman. So I can't see the roles reversed in a lot of scenarios. Now I understand men and women will do certain things that will be the same. We all go to the bathroom. But normally when I go to the bathroom, I'm standing up. Normally she gonna be sitting down. Yeah, there are times when both of us sit down, but most of the time I'm gonna be standing up. I can't always reverse the role and have it make any level of sense to me.
Don't forget to put the seat down, Roger, afterwards.
I don't put no seat down, bro. I'm a man.
Afterwards.
I put the seat down when I'm in the guests in other people's homes.
All right.
In my home, the seat up because I'm a man.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? If I'm a guest in another person's home, if I go in the washroom and the seat is down, I'm gonna leave the seat down. Now I bring it up and then I'll put the seat down. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna leave it like I found it. That's what I do. No, I get you. But I'm saying there is even a point to, can you leave the seat up or not? Nah. If I'm a guest in your home, I'll put the seat the way I found it. If it's down when I get in there, I'm gonna lift it up, use the washroom, I'm gonna put it back down because that's how I found it. Okay. So my thing is, don't say nothing to me because I'm just gonna say I left it like I found it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Because I know that seat being up or down can be a big thing when it comes to certain people, especially women. So I'm just gonna go with I left it like I found it. You know, and y'all can figure out what y'all want to do with it from there. But now at home, and I've allowed some women to live with me before, which is why I'm so against it now, because it's called you learn from your experience. There's no reason for them to live with you if you're not marrying these women. So at this point, no, the seat is up. If she want to let the seat down, she can. You know. Now, if she come to me politely and say, "Well, baby, can you start leaving the seat down after you use the bathroom?" Nah, I do it because she came and asked politely, but I don't owe her that. You know, it's cool for me to do it, but just don't expect me to. I live here, okay? Why would you expect me as a man to have a seat down? That to me, that's faulty expectations. I'm a man. Why are you expecting the seat to be down in the first place? You know,
you got a point
but
there.
men don't. Men don't say things like that though.
You live with women. You know, they age. certain bladder issues start to develop, you become very supple on that kind of issue. That becomes
I ain't mad at the black girl. If a woman just said to me, if she just simply asked me to start leaving the seat down, I absolutely would. Because I got sisters. I have lived with my mother. I live with my mother and sister, so it's no big deal for me to leave the seat down. My issue is having her come ask me to do it. That's all. You know, it's me setting the precedent that you are living with a man, so you should have a certain expectation when it comes to things. So, as a man, why would you expect me to have that seat down?
But even that, see, to me, that's all a part of the courtesy of the relationship between men and women. Because there are certain things that my wife is definitely going to do for me that I don't do for her, right? So it's like a give and take of courtesy based on you being a man and someone, and she being a woman. You don't really look at it as necessarily, I'm a man, so the seat stays up. It's like, okay, you look at it like she brings your plate, you open the door for her. It's just that kind of thing it should be that kind of thing in a relationship, certainly in a marriage. So you just don't really think about it that way.
Yeah. And I agree with that, but y'all understand, I ain't married. So if you at my place and you sit down, why did you expect it not to be up?
Yeah, your own place, your own home. That's you by yourself. That's a totally different thing.
Yeah, because I done said before, I ain't letting no woman live with me unless I'm good enough to marry her. She cannot move in. I ain't never doing that again. I don't see no good things coming from that. If you don't love her enough to marry her, just don't let her in. Real talk. Okay, I ain't telling nobody to throw out somebody who already in there. But if you ain't let her in and you ain't gonna marry her, don't let her in. All to do is create more situations to cause confusion. So
I've had women stay at my place, like, just for a weekend or something like that. But we've never had those arguments, especially in my case, because, like, not only did I put the seat down, I also put the lid down. That's my deal. And I do it mostly for, like, for hygienic reasons or whatnot, because I like to say you're supposed to put the lid down when you flush.
Roger.
Go ahead, turn around.
I got a wife. She puts the seat down. She lifts it up, sit it down, whatever I need her to do. We work together as a team.
So now, you said the way you said it, let us know that you happily married, man. Estou muito feliz, meu irmão. Você é muito feliz, meu irmão.
Sí se puede.
Yeah.
Sí se puede.
Now, y'all, I don't want to make a big deal about the seat. I'm just saying I am a man. If you go in the bathroom behind me and the seat is up, why would you have an expectation that the seat would be down? You're at a man's home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it. I guess I'm just weird.
No,
we never had an argument about seat placement.
Yeah, like I said, I don't want to make the seat a big thing. If y'all already put the seat down, I understand. I used to do it all the time too, because I used to live with women. My mama and my sisters, we would always put the seat down because we had girls in the house. So I get it. I don't live with girls no more, so I don't put the seat down.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough. It's your deal. Your deal.
Yeah,
it's convenient for you.
Yeah,
just like in my case, I put the lid. I not only put the seat down, I put the lid down.
Well, my thing is though, it's about the expectation and about you understanding what you're dealing with at the end of the day. So a woman to come into a man's home and expect the seat to be down when only men live there, to me, you're being a little bit asinine. You should expect a man will have a seat up because most of the time when he goes to the washroom, he's going to use it with that seat up. That's just a normal thing for a man to do. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you live with a woman, I totally get it.
In my opinion, a woman should cook, clean, want to have your children, want you to have money, want to help you and support you. A good woman should be doing all those things and more. That's my opinion.
Which makes sense. Which makes all the sense in the world. You know.
Mhm.
So my thing is, y'all, I ain't finna be no tyrant about no seat. I don't care about the seat. My thing is for a woman to have an expectation for a man to be a man. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So if you go into a man's home,
No
expect the seat to
expectation.
be up. And if you want them to close the seat for you, just say something about it. Now I get it. The woman wants some man who gonna just do it on his own. My thing is there's not enough acknowledgement going on for men at this particular point where I'm going to do that. I'm going to purposely not put the seat down because I want you to acknowledge the fact that you're dealing with a man, and I want to see that you're used to dealing with men. So as a woman who's used to dealing with men, I want you to simply ask me to put the seat down when I'm over. And if that's too much for a woman to do, it shows that there's a certain level of respect she's just not willing to give you. And that's what a lot of men ain't peeped in that situation. It's not about the seat at all. It's just about the fact, does she have enough respect for me as a man to say, could you put the seat down when I'm over here? Because I don't want to, fall in or however they say it. Or is it just that, nigga, you should know better and just do it anyway? What's her attitude? That's what I'm looking at. I don't care about the seat being up or down for real. You know what I'm saying? Because what's a seat being up it ain't gonna stop me at the end of the day. If I got to go to the washroom, that seat being up ain't gonna stop me either way. I'm gonna make something happen at the end of the day. So it is what it is. But the thing is, I want to know, does she have proper respect for men? Do you come to a man demanding that he leaves the seat up because she over there? Or do you ask a man to say, will you consider me because I'm over here? Maybe like you said, maybe she gonna be there for the weekend. Okay, well, do you ask the man to consider you for that weekend? Because I'm gonna be here. Can you just leave the seat down while I'm over here during the weekend? I don't think that's too much for a woman to do. But if a woman refuses to do it, that tells me something about her character and her attitude toward me as a man in general. So it never was about the seat. It's really about how much respect she has for me and what she's willing to do. Is she willing to show any form of submission to me? Because to even ask a man to leave the seat down is saying that you have a certain amount of respect for that man and you understand that that's his toilet seat, not yours. Are you going to even do that? Because there's women that
And have
won't
the
do that.
decency to wipe before and after you're done.
Yeah,
wipe the seat before and after you're done. Sometimes some people forget that.
No, all that's legitimate. But my point is, there are women who won't ask men to do anything like that because their mindset is, I own everything. You happen to get to be with me, even though you're going to pay for all this stuff, but I own everything and you should treat me as the owner.
Yeah,
I remember. Yeah, it's about mutual respect. I remember a situation like that. I was like, there was a time where I was like crashing over to one woman's house on a week, for during the weekend and whatnot, and I purposely brought with me a couple things when I was there, like a box of matches and some air freshener.
Hold on, I got lost. You say that
well, you
one time. I'm sorry.
I said a box of matches and some air freshener.
No, before you said that, I missed what you said.
Okay, I said like there was a time where I was involved with a woman, right? And I would go over to her place for like the weekend or whatnot.
Okay.
And I didn't complain about her leaving the seat up, whatnot, because like you said, it's good courtesy. It's her place. Put the seat down when I was done with it. And had the decency wiped up, but I also brought with me a box of matches just in case, or air freshener in some cases. Because I didn't want to stank up the motherfucker.
Roger.
What? Nobody ever heard of light a match?
We understand.
Y'all don't know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
We get you.
Okay, but since you brought this up, Damon, the question I would ask you
It ain't never
question I
good
would
when
ask
they say you
We
resolve
just,
yourself.
Hey,
I just gotta leave it alone. That's it. I
Let
ain't
me
going.
apologize. Hold up. I want to apologize to Roger. I want to apologize to the entire panel. We've gone completely off the rails. I own up to that. We are completely off the
But
rails.
no, this is both a kind of a criticism of you and her. It is a why didn't she already have air freshener?
I didn't think about that.
I mean, that's a
And why
legitimate
were
question.
you with a woman who? And why were you with a woman who didn't have air pressure in the house?
You're right about that. You know what I learned from that at Black Guru? You know what I learned from that, Black Guru?
What's that?
Okay. All right. First of all, I brought the matches just on my own accord. The matches and the air freshener, I did that on my own accord. Okay. Okay. That was just me. That was me. I was going in there not knowing anything. I was just coming in prepared for anything. Because my father always told me,
So
like my parents said.
You had never been in her apartment before?
This was like maybe the first couple times I've been at her place. Afterwards, it was like, But anyway, what I learned from that was when I got my own place and I had a woman over. What's the company called? Glade?
Right. Yeah.
That Glade, the air freshener. Now they got one of those air fresheners that you can attach to the wall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we know.
So I would just let them know. So
plug in?
no, not the ones you plug in. No, the ones you stick to the wall, and you can replace them with these little mini refills.
Yeah,
I had one placed strategically right above the paper towel, right, just like a couple feet above where the toilet paper roll was, where they could easily reach it for them. So I let them know, hey, when you're done, that's where it is. So you don't have to stank up my place.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna just say this went real south because now you got brothers like Serious Rob in the chat saying, "What woman don't have air pressure at a crib?"
Especially if it played well. In her case, in her defense,
Look, if you're telling me that you had to bring these things, then my natural inference is that they weren't there before.
And I'm gonna explain why. I forgot. I just remembered this. I just remembered.
I think you're gonna dig a deeper hole with this one, bro.
No, I'm gonna dig myself out the hole. I'm gonna dig myself out this hole. In fact, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make a tunnel out of it, and I'm gonna come out the other side. Because I remember. Now I just remembered. You go to any house up here now. Of course, y'all got to give me some grace because I'm in Norway. This is in Europe, but every house you go to, they have an extractor fan. Nigga, listen. You hear what I said? You hear what I said? Hey, I said. Anytime you go into a house, any apartment or a house, the bathroom always has like those extractor fans. You know what I'm saying? So you just switch that off. That's such that you just turn that on. And sometimes, the light switch and the extractor fan are connected to get on one switch. So you just hit the switch. Once you're in, you just hear the fan just go off. The fan go turned on. Okay. Oh, Ron Decipher saying there's no defending that.
Hey, man.
Hey, Roger.
Go ahead.
Hey, I dug myself out. I said they had the extractor fan. They said, the fan. There was a fan.
Yeah,
I'm trying to help.
We have those. We have those in our
I'm trying to help because I'm trying to see what Tunnel Runner talk about. So I'm trying to help.
Roger. The people, the women said they want Tupac, they want Obama, they want the guy with his Ghost.
Yeah, well, they want Ghost now.
But Rock ain't getting too much love from his wife. Tupac didn't get married, and the guy from Ghost is married to a girl of a different color.
Ooh.
So I didn't know
that.
what they're talking about, because if they want these guys, they need to be acting right so they can get them. They, the guys they selecting and that they picking on, when they were here, and they are here, some of them are here, they're not giving them love. Shaq is 7 foot tall, and they ain't giving him no love. So I don't know. It's kind of difficult for these sisters if they ain't the people that they say they want. They ain't acting right when they get them.
I mean, that's an extremely good point at the end of the day, especially when even the character is not with a black woman. The character, and the sad part is the character, because Ghost is just a character. Ghost had a black woman who just refused to go legit once they had the money to go legit. That was a main issue. Come
The
on, look, we
Latina
trying to
was
go
holding them
legit.
down.
No, I need you to stay out here in the field and make sure there's always a possibility to get locked up.
One of the greatest scenes in the history of modern television was when Ghost plucked Tasha in the middle of her forehead with his finger. You guys remember that scene?
Mm-hmm.
Where he plucks her like a child in the middle of her forehead. So I would just watch that like on like a YouTube clip or something like this over and over and over again. Just like you do a child, just to kind of just you got a kid and well the old Toys R Us is misbehaving, you can't get back right, you just walk up to him, just fucking pluck him in the middle of the forehead.
And Roger, isn't Michael Jordan? Isn't the black Superman? Isn't he married to a Cuban now? A Cuban lady that he's been married to for a while.
Yes, he is. Yes,
That's
he
his
is.
second marriage, happily married to her.
Just be like Mike.
Yeah, nice looking woman too. She was a model and everything.
Eddie Murphy's also the same way.
He got a young fresh thing that ain't even she never even
If
saw
women
him
want
play.
to change their image, I guess they need to marry black men and stay married to them and keep them happy, and then that image would change.
No, Mike's wife ain't even old enough to have ever seen him play.
Unless you're going to do that. Yeah.
The current one or the current one? Yeah, I mean,
the current one, she too young. She never seen him play. I mean, she can look it up.
Let me ask you all a question. Let me ask you all a question. Have you all ever heard Eddie Murphy's and Michael Jordan? I don't know if Eddie Murphy married that woman. I know they had a child. Maybe they have several children. The blonde
yeah, he's
one.
married. He's married actually.
Oh, they're married. Okay.
But we don't know which woman you're talking about yet. We don't know which woman you're talking about yet, though.
No, I'm not. This is the current woman. He's with this current blonde woman now.
Oh, okay, let me check.
Not
Let me check.
Nicole. I don't know if they married. I know they had children, but I don't know if they married.
Let me check.
But okay, while you check, the point I'm trying to make is, have you guys ever heard them speak?
Eddie and Mike. Yeah, nothing comes to mind.
You see why I asked that question?
Mm-hmm.
Prior to Kobe's death, did any of us ever hear Vanessa? I mean, before Kobe died, I wouldn't have even known. Before Kobe died, I wouldn't have even known what Vanessa's voice sounded like.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I would say that's how it's supposed to be.
And to their credit, up until just recently, I didn't know what LeBron James' wife sounded like until I saw her on the podcast. You see a pattern here that I'm presenting?
Oh, absolutely.
Mr. Ball, Lorenzo Ball.
Now let's juxtapose that with Michelle Obama.
I knew he was going there.
Yeah.
No, I think that picture is a very good picture, a very clear picture, and good women support their men. I think that's what that picture shows at the end of the day.
They generally do not speak very much in public. They don't.
Yeah, correct.
Because they
Black
know that everything they say is going to be, everything they say is going to be judged, and it's going to be a referendum on their husband. And that's why they don't speak very much. It's not necessarily because they're dumb or anything like that at all. Most of the women, I'm sure, college educated and are very articulate people. But what's the value of me running my mouth in public? What's the value of it? What's the value of me drawing attention to myself away from this great man that everybody loves? What's the value of that?
You know what? I'm gonna say shout out to what's her name? Steph Curry's wife. Who I could Aisha Curry. Yeah, shout out to Aisha Curry. Because with all the dumb stuff she's done in the past, well, she's putting herself in position to be publicly scrutinized. I'm gonna say shout out to her because she doesn't seem to keep her mouth shut for a good period of time at this point. Because I ain't heard nothing from her in the last few recent years. So shout out to her, even though it may have come a little late for learning to shut up. Shout out to her for that. I ain't heard nothing from her in a while.
I think somebody important got to her. That's what I think happened. I think somebody important got to her and said, "Girl, shut up," because she is very tight-lipped now. She is very tight-lipped now, and she's not all in front of the camera and all that kind of stuff. Somebody told her to shut up. It might have been Steph. Maybe he grew some and finally told her to shut up.
Look, baby, I can't hear y'all. Yeah, I can't have you out here doing this, but y'all, we are past the 3-hour mark. So what I'm gonna do, because he came up last, I'm gonna let Tunnel Runner close us out with anything he wants to say, and then it's gonna be a show, y'all. Tunnel Runner, you got anything to close us out with?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's just reverse. We have Oprah, and Stedman doesn't talk. So we got to reverse it in the black community.
That wasn't even right, man. That wasn't even right.
What did they say? Hyenas? Okay, but anyway.
A hyena clan.
Okay. Well, and let me say real quick, shout out to Landon, because Landon did send me a Cash App too. So shout out to Landon, because I got cut off and I didn't announce your Cash App. So thank you very much. And y'all, I appreciate the Cash App support as well. Thank you very much. And y'all keep in mind, the Cash App never closes, okay? The Cash App never closes. It's open 24 hours a day. And thank y'all for everybody who's making an effort for me to get the subscribers back a little bit quicker, because, I'm starting as a new channel, so it has to grow, and then people got to see it and spot it and all that type of stuff. So, it'll take a little while, but we getting there. It's taking a little while. But I do love and appreciate y'all, because I'm putting myself on a certain pace of what my expectations should be. And as I checked as of yesterday, I'm on the pace that I expected to be on. So, and it's a good pace. Trust me, it's a very good pace. So thank all y'all for subscribing right away. I definitely appreciate y'all. And I'm still going to put out the best content on social media. That ain't changed. Real talk, y'all. So y'all have a great, wonderful rest of y'all day. We will see y'all tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Central Time. For anybody who happens to hear this that's new, I know right now I'm mainly getting my regulars back. So shout out to any new person though. But we do this at 9 a.m. Chicago time, not where you happen to be. I know you might be in Albuquerque, but it's 9 a.m. Chicago time. Y'all have a good rest of y'all day. Long live the habitual line steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right, and I'm out.